happens. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good morning, live from the HHH Racing Podcast Studios. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining us. A very, very special edition of Weekend Warriors. We are here to cover races 4 through 7 from Meydan Racecourse. It is the 2026 DUBAI World Cup card. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone here in the United States and worldwide on YouTube. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, the bottom right hand side of the screen, the notification bell on the top right, and smash that like button below the video player on YouTube. That will send like-minded horse players here to the HHH Racing Podcast. You can also listen to our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. And of course, you can follow us on the X platform at HHH Racing Pod. We'd really appreciate your support in all of those places. Many other very important announcements to talk about as we go along here in the show. First thing, I want to apologize a little bit. I have a Eastern view background behind me, so usually you don't see that much brightness and sun, but it's a bright, sunshiny day here in the Chicago area, and that's how my room is set up here in our studios. So hopefully that's not too much of a bother. I'm very excited to bring on two fantastic hosts today. One gentleman who is brand new to the show, as our good friend Emmett Kennedy is busy at the Curragh, as the Final Furlong is actually sponsoring a race at the Curragh today. And there's a very special horse running there that actually we're going to talk about a little bit on the show. I didn't even preface our two co-hosts on that, but I know they can talk about the very talented Albert Einstein, who's running for Aidan O'Brien today at the Curragh. Let me bring on my two fantastic co-hosts. First, a gentleman you know very well. I can't say enough good things about him. From Liverpool, England, Mr. Davey Lane, and our brand new co-host for today. He's known as the Anti-Poster. And if for those of you in the U.S. punters who don't know what that means, this is someone who really enjoys making future bet wagers. He has his own podcast, expert handicapper, expert punter, also from the UK. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. Daniel Morgan, for the first time. Gents, good morning, good afternoon. How are we doing today?
Good morning, guys. Let's get hot onto it. Just want a clarification. We are covering races 4 through 9. We just won't be live through races 8 and 9. Okay, so we'll have opinions on 8 and 9. And let's get to it. Let's throw Daniel in the deep end and get him warmed up and get his opinions firing away for the first race we're covering, the UAE Derby.
Absolutely. You know what, Daniel, because of our time here, I see there's about 11 minutes to the post for race 4. I'm going to have you do a formal introduction of yourself and tell the whole world about you through our podcast. Let's do that after the UAE Derby, Daniel, if that's okay, so we can get right into the horses. There's 11 minutes to post. Again, the first race we're going to discuss, and Davey Lane is correct. We're not going to be talking about, or not. We're going to talk about, but we're not going to be able to play audio of race 8 and 9, the last two races. There's reasons why we're doing that. We're only going to be talking about audio or playing the audio and handicapping the races for races 4 through 7. So again, if you're listening at home, if you're not familiar with our podcast, we obviously can't show the races on the screen with the video due to copyright issues, but we will be, and Daniel, I'm not sure you actually knew this, we're going to be playing the races with the audio. So depending on where you live, ladies and gentlemen, there's usually about a 7 or 8 second delay between what you see here on the screen on YouTube and actual time. So when the races start, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to stay on here and watch our reaction as I play the audio of the race. But if you prefer to just watch the race on your telly or on your television or on your iPad, please feel free to do that. Daniel, I'm going to start with you, my friend. We have 10 minutes to post. Let's go ahead and bring up the field right now. This is the UAE Derby. There are qualifying points for our Kentucky Derby here, so this means a lot to U.S. punters, and there are some horses here with U.S. connections. Of course, not nearly as many. We'll get into the whole scenario between the weather and the geopolitics. Today is certainly a very interesting day or week or month, I should say, in the UAE. Right now, as I go ahead, Daniel, bring up the odds right now. Again, this is through Odds Checker. And for those people who are not familiar, these are all the betting sites, betting that you can bet in Europe. And you can see the odds here. Right now, 6-speed, Daniel, for Buptar Simar and Mikel Barcelona looks to be a soft favorite, somewhere around 5-2, 11-4. What say you in the UAE Derby, Daniel?
Well, what strikes me immediately looking at the screen is that line of blue for 3 of the horses. That means that the prices come in. Pyromancer has been favourite for this ever since the markets opened up. But he's weak. They've gone off the Japanese and they're smashing into the 2 locals, 6-speed and Saloom. Now, they're both very, very fast horses, 6-speed and Saloom, but they've only run over a mile here. Now, I'm Saloom, he's out of authentic. You think he should get it. 6-speed should have the stamina as well, but they've yet to do it. Whereas the Japanese, who've won this for the last 4 years, and not always with their number 1 string, have just, a bit weak in the market, but they're the ones with the 9 furlong form. So this is very interesting at the top. My personal take on this is that Wonder Dean, the second Japanese, is really, really interesting because 2 days ago, a horse that beat him 2 back absolutely pounded a good field in Japan, beating the favorite. It was a two-time winner prior to that race. That and the Saudi Derby run, Oisin Murphy, a jockey I totally respect, but I think that was the worst horse race I've ever seen him ride. He kept Wonder Dean 6 or 7 wide throughout the one bend that they run around, and you can't give away that kind of ground on the dirt. So I think his race was much better than it looks. He's only got half a length to find on Pyromancer. I fear 6-speed most of all because he's win. His last 3, the times are good. But the wild card is the local Saloom, who ran an even faster time, but it was on debut. He's just run once, and he's now up against the big boys. And he didn't even race last time. He broke through the gate, got worked up. So goodness knows what he's going to do. But those are big 4. I find them difficult to look beyond.
Yeah. So on the bottom of the screen, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see scrolling the picks from Davey and Daniel. Again, these are the saddlecloth numbers. We have to remind our U.S. Punters, Davey and Daniel, that, of course, the saddlecloth numbers do not necessarily match the gate that they're going to be breaking from. In fact, it usually does not. So Davey in this race is going 2-9-3, and Daniel, as he just described, going 2-3-1. Wonder Dean right now, well, let's go back to the odds here. Wonder Dean is, right now in Europe, you can get odds about, 11-2, 5. What I'm seeing right now, gentlemen, in the Whirlpool is 9-1 on Wonder Dean. Yes, Davey.
Right. Well, let me say a couple of things, and I concur with Daniel wholeheartedly, and a few things. The Japanese race a few days ago, that solidified my opinion on this horse, number 1. Number 2, the market moves this morning were significant because that horse was 12-1 this morning. So that's halved in price. That's number 2. Number 3, it wouldn't have been 12-1 if Oisin Murphy wasn't banned and he was booked to ride the horse, regardless of how bad a ride he gave the horse last time. That's number 3. So I'm with the quote unquote other Japanese. And before we get cut off and go to the race, I also want to add a few things. I've put in the number 9, largely on its gallop out in that race in behind 6-speed. If you watch, I know Howard loves the gallop outs. If you watch closely the 2000 guineas, Union Security, 50 yards after the post was overtaking 6-speed. So he's a big bomb price if you want to use that. And Pyromancer, he looked like a little washed out and a little eager during training during the week. So that's why I'm a little off him, which is why the market may be off him also. I'm not too keen on Saloom, but he could pull it off. I also have one other thing to say, a complete wild card. It's not in the 1, 2, 3, but anyone playing the Super. There's a French horse in here, Go Man. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get in the 1, 2, 3, but if you're playing a Super, maybe the 4th, I watched his races in France and in Toulouse and what have you. He looked like a dirt horse, and in his background pedigree, you get the Dubai Millennium and what have you. I've got a feeling these guys took him to a beach in Normandy after seeing his little legs running, almost like he was Fred Flintstone or someone like that, or one of the Top Cat guys. And I think they took him to a beach in Normandy and like, mon Dieu, this is a dirt horse. So, that's just in the back of my head that he's very fast from the gate. So I'm just throwing that out there for anyone who wants to have a go at a huge price. That's all.
Davey, can I just come in there quickly? Yeah, Gomez, quite interesting. I mean, people should know that on the official ratings, international ratings, this is the 4th best horse in the race.
Wow.
And he's 66 to 1 at the moment in the UK Irish bookmaking markets. But as you said, I mean, he's never run on dirt, so it's a complete unknown. And as for Union Security, I get that angle. This is a horse who hasn't yet run at Maidan over this kind of trip, and this is maximum security Union rags, loads of stamina there, so it could be interesting. Beaten by 6 speed 3 times, but every time they got a further distance, he was less far behind. So interesting.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. I'm going to put on the sound. I want to make sure we can hear the sound here. Okay, hold on. Do we hear the sound?
Joins me, who co-owns alongside wife Claire.
Okay. Okay, good. Let me. I know there's a lot of odds we just threw out. I don't want to confuse. Of course, American punters, look at your ADWs, your computers, your phones. You can see the odds. We can't show the odds on the screen, but right now the co-favorites are Pyro. This is Whirlpool odds that we're all betting into. Pyromancer and 6-speed, gentlemen, are at 5-2 co-favorites. Saloom is at 4-1. And your Devon Island for Buick and Appleby taking a lot of money, a horse we've not talked about, at 5-1 right now. And your guys, your top choice, gentlemen, Wonder Dean right now is 9-1. Thoughts on those Whirlpool odds, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm very interested. They're coming for the Devon Island. I mean, Buick Appleby, of course, that one's going to take money, but absolutely hammered by 6-speed last time, and I don't really see the stamina in that pedigree. Just a quarter length ahead of Union Security is like 20 times the price. So that's interesting. In Buick, they have faith.
Well, Daniel, I think what we're seeing, and Davey would agree, and I don't want to miss the call, but we're good. They're still behind the gate. Davey, I assume you'll agree with my statement here relating to Devon Island. There's a lot of casual bettors playing this morning, and they see Buick and Appleby, and they're like, whoa, this horse must be live. And this horse is a complete underlay, meaning he's being overbet. Would you agree with that, Davey?
Most definitely, because he's drifting on the UK market. He's out to 16-1 with many bookmakers.
Oh, wow. Dan, you would agree with that statement as well that I just made?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'd still wonder why they're not looking at, Practical Joke Dam out of a sprinter, and why they're not seeing that the best part of 10 furlongs is going to be a stretch for this guy to make up that 5-length deficit to 6 speed. I don't see it. Could have egg on my face.
Gentlemen, the filly is also taking money. We haven't talked about. Labois is 6-1. So she is 7s in the market. What's your thoughts on Labois, Davey, quickly, as they're about to start loading the gate, sir?
Yeah, my father always told me to watch out for if there's the only filly in the race, so I always aware of that. So I've kept her on side defensively. And the connections I've talked about, whether they're going to go to the Kentucky Derby or the Kentucky Oaks. So they're thinking ahead as well. So that wouldn't surprise me. It's very impressive last time. But I think the fields that filly has been beaten, they look very suspect compared to the Good point.
I'm not sure the form lines are going to fit, Daniel. We'll see. But we've seen fillies run well in this race before. There's a few horses getting warm in behind, guys. The gate there, as we can see. It is a warm day. We have so much to talk about, guys, with the weather and geopolitics. We're not going to get into politics, but it has to be mentioned. They're starting to load, gentlemen, so I'm going to go ahead and bring on the sound. Again, if this is way off kilter to what you're watching, feel free to, watch your own TV. But here we go. The UAE Derby from Maidan, race 4. Enjoy, everyone. Who is going to qualify for the Kentucky Derby? We'll find out.
From Pat on the rump to Pat in the box. Thank you, Tom. And we've got to commend a rider here, one of the long-time servants of UAE Racing, Adri De Vries, who will have his swan song race here. 2
more to load, ladies and gentlemen.
He's had a wonderful career in the saddle. He jumps on Ramas here tonight for Bupat Seema and Triple.
I'm going to go with Saloom. If Saloom behaves himself and breaks, I think he's got a huge shot.
The best of luck going
I'll go with
forward.
Saloom, the number 5.
This is the moment that we've been wanting.
Breaking from post 6.
To see. Blindfold on. Last in, Saloom. Gate 6. He's in. Runners are set. Away. And the blindfold didn't come off the first time, but he jumped with them, Saloom. He's out to last, 6 speed, showing good pace with Ramas. Wonder Dean is in 3rd position off the track. Then came Lino Pedrino, who hunts up the fence inside of Union Security. They sit 3rd and 4th. Then came Pyromancer, who's a little wide. Next there, Labois, the inner, not leading tonight. Next there was Devon Island from Saloom, now up to 3rd position. Go Man and Brotherly Love is last. 6 speed is burning them up in front here. 1,400 metres left to go. 8.81, 10.84 as they head onto the back of the course. It's 3.5 in advance now of Ramas in 2nd. Lino Pedrino is 3rd on the inside of Union Security. 1.5 lengths to Wonder Dean from Saloom, working through pairs in the centre of the course. Next there on the outside was Pyromancer, wide without cover. Labois is on the inside in 4th to last. 2.5 lengths to Devon Island from Goman, and Brotherly Love is wide, getting on Pyromancer's back and beginning to improve as 6 speed continues on with it. 6 speed leads them to the back turn. The margin now 5 lengths. He skipped away from Wonder Dean in 2nd. Ramos is 3rd, being pushed along. Lino Pedrino, the inside, hasn't spent a penny. Next on the outside was Pyromancer, 1/2 length to Union Security, 1.5 lengths to Brotherly Love, 1/2 length Saloom. Then came Devon Island from Go Man, Labois out to last.
This 2 has got a big shot, guys.
Got one contender at the moment, and it's Wonder Dean, who is breathing down his neck here as they wheel the bend in the UAE Derby. It's 6 speed by 2.
Go on, it's 2. Go by 6 speed.
Pyromancer 3rd, 4th Brotherly Love making good ground here. The race has been run to suit. It's up in front, 6 speed from Wonder Dean, 6 speed into unknown territory from a distance range. Wonder Dean looms up on the outside for Demuro, comes past a length. Wonder Dean from 6 speed, who's not done with yet, fighting ever so hard, but Wonder Dean.
Go Wonder Dean!
Again in the UAE Derby. Wonder Dean by 1.5 lengths, maybe 2 lengths to 6 speed. Pyromancer has been able to rattle home into 3rd position from Brotherly Love. Then came Devon Island. Next over Union Security from...
Wow, what a start to the morning. Davey Lane and Daniel Morgan. This is why we have some of the best punters and handicappers and bettors in the world on the HHH Racing Podcast. Wonder Dean, what a fantastic ride by Christian DeMoro. Wins the UAE Derby by about, I would say, 1.5 lengths to 2 lengths over 6 speed, who led the whole way. Comes 2, 3, I'm trying to get, I think 1. Daniel Morgan, did you just give us the first 3, my friend, as the first race on the show?
I've only got 2 things to say, Howard. One is beginner's luck, and the second is I'm not a trifecta boy. So I myself had no vested interest in that exact outcome.
Oh, my goodness. Davey, we bring on the best talent in the world here on the show. You better step it up, my friend. This guy just showed you up big time. Where's my pen? Daniel, that was what we call a mic drop here. 2, 3, 1, the cold trifecta in the UAE Derby, Davey. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, great. But I played him in a multiple prices of 12 to 1. So I've got money on the horse and sitting pretty right now.
Wow. Let's get some comments. Of course, this is before the race just happened. We have Cody Johnson is here. Again, we can't show the races, Cody. There's obvious copyright issues, but we can, as you can hear, we can play the races. You can watch the races in many places. If you're in United States on FanDuel and Fox Sports 2, I believe you can go ahead and watch the races themselves. Let's see who else is here. This is Terry Frank. Terry Frank, congratulations. Terry Frank Daniel is one of our favorite viewers from St. Louis, Missouri, here in the middle of the country. An excellent handicapper, by the way. Congratulations to him. Good morning from Anthony Kwan. What's up, Anthony? Good morning. 6393. We have a lot of people in the chat. I'm just looking here. Terry says thank you, guys. Boom. Thanks, gents. There you go. Congratulations. Gary Slayton. Great job, guys. First time I bet on Dubai, and Gary wins, Daniel. How about that? Pretty cool, right? All right. Keith Borgraz here. Let's go from Keith. Excellent. These are live comments, Daniel, in our chat. We have David Mims, a fantastic guy that I see at the Kentucky Derby every year. 502. He's got that's a nice looking picture. Nice profile picture. Damon. Sorry, it's Damon, not David. Sorry, Damon Mims.
Howard, quick question. This guy who hit the super, I didn't even see who came in fourth. Did we see who came in fourth?
Yeah, Brotherly Love.
Yes,
Okay.
Brotherly Love. So the 6, correct.
That's a great superfecta pick. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Vashawn Welsh, bang bang. Everyone's good for the day, guys. No one else. You don't have to touch your wallets, everyone, because we just got 8-1 on Wonder Dean. Let's talk about the race a little bit. Davey, I was personally not surprised that 6 Speed literally sped to the lead. There are this ownership, by the way, is United States ownership. They were always pointed to this race. He's a very fast horse. He does get 50 points towards the Kentucky Derby, and I'm 95% positive, gentlemen, we're going to see 6 Speed in the Kentucky Derby, and he's going to add a lot more early speed to a race that usually has early speed anyway in 5 weeks. I thought he ran credible, but he did get run down. I think the Derby's going to be even a tougher race for him.
I have to add one thing that, I'm always a little, not cynical, but suspicious about how things go. And, we take it on face value. Oisin Murphy rode a bad race in Saudi. But maybe Oisin Murphy's instructions were to keep going wide, get lots of distance, get sort of miles into the horse's legs, because they're thinking ahead to Kentucky, knowing that this was always the target, this was the 100 points, and the next race is Kentucky. So, sometimes you have to be careful judging how things go with rides and jockeys, because there's always a plot, always something going on later. And maybe that was the case, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But good to see it go exactly as we both said it would do. And Howard, you got the best guests in. I hope there's a good crowd here watching today. So.
Oh, well, clearly, based on these connections, these are Japanese ownership, David. Would you expect them to go to the Kentucky Derby?
Oh, they're definitely going. Yeah, they're already pre-entered, so there's no supplementary fee or anything. They
are. Okay, I was not familiar with that. Okay. Yeah. So they don't have to pay a supplemental fee, Daniel. They're already qualified to go. We have seen Japanese horses, Daniel. I don't know how familiar you are with the Japanese or the Asian circuit, but we've seen horses do very well. Of course, Forever Young is probably the best one in the history of Asian racing at this point. He ran very well in the Kentucky Derby. There's also a horse named Danon Bourbon who won today very impressively, who's 3 for 3. Don't quote me, ladies and gentlemen, but I think he's also qualified now for the Kentucky Derby. So we could see those two. Pyromancer, I'm not sure he's going to qualify, but at least 2 Japanese ownership horses are going to be going to our big race, Daniel. I wouldn't be surprised if they show themselves very well in Kentucky.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've seen many a Japanese horse come to Kentucky, haven't you, and blow out, having one in the Middle East. And Forever Young changed all that, but Forever Young, as we now know, is Forever Young. And these guys will still have it all to prove. Good quick shout out to 6 Speed, who did all the heavy lifting up front. He hung around until it was the last half furlong that Wonder Dean couldn't pass him. He got 60 points, hasn't he, or something? He could go if he wants. Doesn't he get an invite now?
I believe so. Pyromancer, I thought, ran fine. He was wide, I believe. Davey, go ahead.
Yeah, just one point. there was a horse who's supposed to be here, and we'll get a little bit into the geopolitics, if I may. But the winner of the Saudi Derby, Al Haram, was supposed to be here. Now, we all know what's going on in the world between the Shia and then the Gulf states and then the other, America and Israel. So, but there's an intramural rivalry between the Sunnis, if you will, between the Emiratis and the Saudis, something going on. And something happened with the plane that was supposed to, in theory, pick up the runners from Saudi to go to Dubai. I know it's a war going on, but they found ways to get everyone else there. And Haram didn't go. Now, Haram wasn't entered in the Kentucky Derby, but they would pay the supplementary fee. I want to ask Howard a question. Do you think we'll ever see the day when we already did in California, didn't we, 2 years ago, when either a Japanese or a Middle East horse comes to the States to run in one of these races? So do you think we'll see the Saudi horse in the Wood or the Bluegrass in 2 weeks' time?
I think it's very possible. Our 3-year-old crop, there are some very big races. I believe both of you are aware of that. There were big races last week, today, and next week are our major Kentucky Derby prep races, and we're going to find out a lot more. But I think the general inclination right now, Davey and Daniel here in the States, is that our 3-year-old crop is a bit meh. It's a bit a little average. Of course, I hope my boy Paladin wins the Kentucky Derby. And Daniel, I want to talk to you as the anti-poster. You can appreciate that our current anti-post Kentucky Derby favorite right now is Paladin, and he's about 6-1. And I bet him in November, and I have 40-1 on Paladin to win the Kentucky Derby. So I'm very excited. I'm live to a 5-digit score to Paladin if he can win the Kentucky Derby. So we'll talk about that a little bit, Daniel. That's right up your alley, my friend, with anti-posting. But I think it is very possible, Davey. My point, Davey, is that I'm not sure this crop is really that good, and maybe a fresh face like Al Haram would suit.
Yeah, maybe.
We shall see. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, certainly Al Haram. I mean, he won't qualify on the basis of that grade 3 Saudi Derby, though, will he? He'd have to go to the States, as Davey said, to get more points to get in, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
There's information from Racing Downwind. Daniel, his real name is David Duncan. Another excellent handicapper said Denon Bourbon gets the win. He's now 3 for 3. USA bred by Maxfield, who was a very talented older horse series, a relative young sire, guys. Maxfield, I think this is only his 2nd or 3rd crop of horses that are running out of a Tappet mare. So obviously, Denon Bourbon is a horse we're going to hear a lot more. All right, let's take a quick short, not a break, but let's take a deep breath here a second. Daniel, you haven't even had a chance to introduce yourself. I think people at home are wondering, I don't care who this guy is. He just tipped out an 8-1 shot along with Davey Lane. But Daniel, please talk very briefly about your background and your wonderful podcast known as The Anti-Poster.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for introducing me. So I live in London, southwest England, southeast England even, and I was made redundant from my day job by the machines about 3-4 years ago. So I made the potentially questionable judgment that it was time to make my 30-year hobby into my full-time occupation. So I set up my website, theantiposter.com, and every so often write articles on there in which I put up horses for futures wagers. Basically, that's what anti-post betting, as Howard said earlier, means. And you can do that. And unfortunately, really only with UK and Irish bookmakers. I know futures wagering has got bigger business in the States in the last few years, but it's a whole host of races are covered days, weeks, and sometimes even months in advance. So I sit in my lair, I monitor news flow, and I pounced and write an article and said, this price has got to be taken about this horse. And that's what I do. This Dubai, just very briefly, this Dubai World Cup meet was very frustrating because of everything that went on. There were no futures wagering markets on any of the races apart from the big one. So I put up Magnitude about a month ago at 25-1. We'll see how he does later.
Wait, I'm sorry. You just quickly brushed over that. You have Magnitude in the Dubai World Cup today at 25-1 already in as that bet, correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
When they decided not to go for the Saudi Cup, and they went to the Razorback, didn't they? The British bookmakers were not alert to the fact that Asmussen has said, we're going to go the gun runner, curling route. We're going to take him as Winchell Thoroughbreds again. And suddenly he was double the price they had him for the Saudi Cup, even though with everything going on, it looked like the Dubai World Cup wasn't going to be any stronger. So, yeah, so we recommended 25s. As we'll come to later, I'm a little bit nervous about how slow this dirt track has been playing.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more about that. That it does seem the times are a little bit slower. Obviously, the weather this past week is part of it. Daniel, most importantly, and we appreciate that intro, where can people find your podcast and get information about what you do? You sell your product, etc.?
Are you back, Howard?
Yes, Davey. Oh, everything's fine on our end, Davey.
Good. You were garbled for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think everything's okay for us, Davey. Maybe I think on your end, I believe that's the issue.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but anyway, Daniel, do you have information that you're selling? Where can people find out more about what you do?
So the Twitter feed, I suppose, at the _antiposter. That's where I tweet out stuff, and I tweet out the articles when they get published. The website is www.theantiposter.com. And the YouTube channel, if you put the two words "the" and "antiposter," that's ANTE. Well, it's written there by my name there, but they put those two words in YouTube, you'll go straight to our channel. We did a couple of pods on Dubai earlier this week. We cover big Group 1 races, a lot of French, English, Irish, specialty because of where we're based, but we cover some big races elsewhere as well, including Dubai.
I love it. Terrific. And so I'm not going to tell my story about a horse named Sierra Leone. I'm sure you know that horse, but I had a story that actually got to be known a little bit here in the States because I had 150 to 1. I don't know if you're familiar with that story a few years ago on Sierra Leone.
I watched your show when you announced it. Yeah,
Daniel.
That stretch run in the Run for the Roses must have been etched in your memory forever.
Yeah, it's the toughest beat that I've ever had. It'll probably be the toughest beat I will ever have. But you know what, Daniel? As we get into the next race, actually we have 32 minutes, guys, so we're good. Why should people be interested in anti-post wagers? Now, the obvious is your odds are so much better than you're going to get on the day, but it also takes a lot of research. It's a lot more risky. It's a high reward, high risk kind of bet. I know Davey loves playing futures and anti-post, but convince people at home here in the States why it's a bet worth at least exploring.
Have we got Davey, or is he still with us?
Yeah, he's trying to figure it out. Go ahead, Dan. Daniel, you and I are good. Go ahead. We'll let Davey try to figure out his.
So yeah, I mean, the most important thing really is for people to understand, and anyone who's familiar with American futures wagering presumably knows this already. But it is a riskier game. If you back a horse on the day and it plays up, and in the gate is withdrawn, it throws off the jockey. All these kind of things. There are all sorts of situations which you can get your money back, and that's the norm if your horse doesn't actually get into the gate. But if you back something a month in advance and it doesn't turn up on the day, that's it. Your betting slip is shredded.
Yeah.
But as you say, it's a question of whether or not there is real value there at a bigger price, weeks or months in advance. And here you have to get this sort of nebulous concept of time value. So, an anti-post wager, I put a bet on the Arc de Triomphe a year in advance of this year's race, the day after last year's. And that's quite questionable, and the time value, the time risk I'm taking on for something to go wrong, or that horse has plans to change or injury, is absolutely enormous. So sometimes it's just a case of putting up a horse 10 days, 2 weeks out. But yeah, the bigger prices tend to be where you take bigger risks. So yeah, smaller stakes, bigger risks, bigger rewards. That's the kind of the model. Unfortunately,
here in the United States, Daniel, it's not easy to. Davey, give me a thumbs up. You can hear me okay now? Okay, we'll bring Davey back on.
Yeah,
Daniel, unfortunately, here in the States, there are not a lot of opportunities for us to make anti-post wagers. I know Dave and I worked together on some things, and You can bet our Kentucky Derby is the biggest anti-post or future wager bet we have. There are betting sites eventually where you can bet Breeders' Cup races, which of course is in the first week of November here in the States, like a few months in advance. But unfortunately, we can't make anti-post bets as much as we'd like to. But I love the concept, and I think it's excellent. I'm going to take Davey. Let's see. I'll take him off the screen so people don't see a blank. Okay. Very interesting. Let me ask you one more question. What is the key? If you could pinpoint one key factor in making successful future bets, what would you say that would be, Daniel?
Wow, that's taken me a bit by surprise. I got to scratch my head on that one. Okay, the biggest thing and the biggest advantage that the wagerer has over these bookmakers nowadays, which didn't used to happen, is something called the correction of the asymmetry of information. You go back 50, 60 years, and the individual bettor wouldn't have a clue what had happened until he read the papers or listened to something on the radio or heard something on the television, maybe. But now, with the rise of social media and the internet, people investigating races long in the future can find little snippets of stuff that the bookmakers, they just don't have the time to cover all the areas of news flow. They're good at it, but I think if you specialize in one particular area, and I focus solely on graded stakes races, I don't go near other types of races. I think you can learn things at least as quickly and sometimes before the bookmakers. So that's the thing. It's news flow monitoring in an area in which you specialize.
Trish Smith at the bottom of the screen. Daniel and Davey is a fantastic viewer. She's from Lexington, Kentucky, where Keeneland Racecourse is. I've had the pleasure of meeting her. That's the great thing about podcasts, Daniel. We're on 5+ years, and I've met people and gone places I never thought I would. I went to Ask It with Davey and Sean T as well 2 summers ago. Just amazing experience. Trish wants to, first of all, compliment you, Daniel, on the Anti-Post podcast. Will Royal Ask It ever get a traditional pick 5 or pick 4 win like we have here in the States? Can't imagine the payouts. Davey, when we were there, we actually did bet. It's just not really available to U.S. punters, correct? Davey, can you hear us okay? Okay. But anyway, she's talking about horizontal betting, Daniel. They are available at European tracks. They just don't promote it very much. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, the other way, as I say, you chatting about the pick 6 you and David were putting together before I came on air, and I don't do these horizontal ones myself. But what people do is doubles and trebles and right up to quadruple. So effectively, you're kind of doing the same thing by letting one ride on the next. But yeah, I'm not aware of this official sort of pick 5, pick 6 thing like you guys have in the States for European races.
I believe in Australia they call them quaddies. Is that correct? The pick 4s, I believe.
Okay. As I do not get engaged in Southern Hemisphere racing of any kind, I cannot comment, I'm afraid.
All right. Daniel's like, I came out to talk about other things, not I'm sorry, Daniel.
That's okay. That's okay.
Here's a question I think is a fair one for you, Daniel. From Keith Borgrad. This is for Davey also once he gets his, and Davey's working on his technology, ladies and gentlemen, so bear with us with that. Does the track playing slower, as you mentioned, Daniel, hurt or help Forever Young in your opinion, sir?
I was very interested to see 2 different trainers' comments with respect to the way the track was playing and the rain. I think it was actually Marcus Hirsch on DRF who pointed this out, that the trainers of Meydan were worrying that the rain would make the track too fast, and Yahagi was worried it would make it too slow. Oh, hang on. Do I have that the other way around? Now I'm confusing even myself.
No, I believe you have that correct.
Yeah, but what is really, really interesting about the dirt track, and I haven't seen the UAE Derby, but I did monitor the Kahela Classic, which is over the Dubai World Cup distance.
Yes.
And the Godolphin Mile, won by Banishing, of course. Our American viewers will be very familiar with Banishing.
Yes.
Those 2 times, sorry, not Banishings. Banishings and the horse who won the Kayla, I don't know. Those were the slowest times in the last 10 years. And that includes, and this is interesting, that includes there's another time when it had yielding yielding as well. Wait a minute. Sorry, I've made a big error on air, I suspect. It was the turf. I've scribbled all this down and it's gone. Yeah, sorry, Godolphin Mile. Yeah, 138.23. Okay.
Usually that race is run, ladies and gentlemen, like high 136s, low 137 in general. That was a good 2 seconds, a second and a half to 2 seconds, which I would say, usually a second is about 5 lengths approximately. I mean, that race was run legitimately today, that banishing, you could argue 7 to 8 lengths slower than normal.
Yeah, it was by far the slowest time in the last 10 years. And the Kahela Classic was by far the slowest time in the last 10 years too. But so the point I made about the turf, and that was interesting, is the turf race, the marathon. It was slow, but it wasn't as slow as the race in 2017 when the turf was described as yielding. That's now becoming... it's improved to good in the last 2 hours, if that can be believed. Maidan don't normally do any other description apart from the word good, which I find very frustrating. We're presumably not far off from the Alcoz, guys. What's the
no, I think we have 23 minutes. We're going to get into it right now. Davey, before we get into the Alcoz, and we're going to get into it right now, ladies and gentlemen, we still have 23 minutes to post, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alcoz. What do you believe? The question on the bottom of the screen, Davey. How do you feel about that?
Well, it probably helps Forever Young, because Forever Young is proven to be able to deal with heavy, with stamina laden trips. So my only worry is if it's that Nisos race took things out of him. That would be the concern.
Okay, I would say for the American horses, it probably does not help Magnitude, who I think distance is a bit of a question here. It does help Hit Show, who I've never liked. I know he won this race last year, Daniel. It was Forever Young was horrible in that race. It was a weak rendition. Interestingly enough, it's a bit of a weak rendition this year as well. I think we'd all agree, Keith and everyone at home, Forever Young is going to have to take a good 3 to 4 length step back for anyone else to win this race, at least in my personal opinion. Daniel and Dave, would you agree with that? And then we'll move on.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And given the political conditions, if they were in any way worried about the horse, they would have had their excuse to sort of like pull up stumps and ship him out, wouldn't they, at some point,
Agreed.
So I think he's probably a good thing.
Okay, let's get to the Alcoz, guys.
Yeah,
we're all good. Okay, let's get to the Alcoz. By the way, payouts in last race: Wonder Dean paid 18, 680, 580, 6 Speed $5, 380, and Pyromancer 420. Of course, we have place end show payouts in the Whirlpool. The Exacta, the dollar Exacta paid $39. Very, very nice. The 50-cent super given out by this gentleman right there, the 50-cent straight super, $61.40. Get a little snap, a little applause for Daniel Morgan on that. All right, guys, Alcoz, 5 furlongs on the turf. Let's go and look at the field. It's 6 furlongs, excuse me. 6 furlongs. It's a straight course on, of course, the turf. The favorite right now is the number 1 Breaking Post 7. Actually, not the favorite. We'll get into that. Lazat right now. Reef Runner, very popular horse here in the States, who has really just been incredible. Much better than I ever thought he would. We have Lugal, a very interesting horse coming from Asia, who is definitely a threat here. Kadem from Ireland, Richard Mullen. Cover Up, Ryan Moore, who is not riding. I repeat, Ryan Moore is not riding here today. Patrick Dobbs gets the mount on Cover Up. Great Wish for Sylvester D'Souza, Native Approach. Marbon, these are some probably some roughies here that we're looking at. Run Boy Run, Arabi. Montiel's a horse for Christian Numero and Mario Baratti that I know Davey's at least slightly interested in at a big price. Rayevka, is that pronounced correctly, Davey?
Yeah.
Okay, Rayevka for Mikhail Barcelona and Graffard, and then Northern Champion. Gentlemen, the odds right now are absolutely fascinating in terms of what I see in the Whirlpool versus what I see over in Europe. So let's talk first about, let me take this off the screen. I don't want to confuse people. Here are the current Whirlpool odds. Yes, Davey, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe add our respective 1, 2, 3s onto the banner as well below if you want to do that.
Yes,
too.
thank you very much for doing that. See, Davey's an expert on this show, Daniel. He's my co-producer now. He can remind me. I got a lot of things going on. Here are the picks from Davey and Daniel. And ladies and gentlemen, you're wondering, where's Howard's picks? No. We've had a very busy week here in the States with our own Kentucky Derby preps. Yes, Davey.
That's not mine. I should be 1, 3, 11. I don't know what you've.
Oh, you know what? I didn't ask. I'm sorry. I didn't put your picks in yet. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ignore that, everyone. 1, 3, 11 for Davey. Daniel, what are your picks?
Yeah, no, exactly, man. So we're going. You want the official numbers, right? Not the post positions, yeah. So
yes.
Getting those right. Yeah,
correct.
Absolutely.
The saddle cloth number. Yeah.
I am 1, 11, 12. And there's something slightly professionally embarrassing about that, but I'll come to that later.
Wow. So, Davey, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize before. So, I've had a very busy week here. I also had a bit of a major issue with my shoulder, and we had a lot of pain and almost went to the hospital. Anyway, no one cares to know. I'm better now. Yeah. I did not have time to deep dive this Dubai card, ladies and gentlemen, for those, especially for U.S. fans and punters of the show. Not only that, as a lot of the U.S. punters know, the regular past performances and information and intel was not readily available for this card. So I'm relying heavily on these two gentlemen for picks today, although I do have some opinions. Again, Davey is going 1, 3, 11. Daniel's going 1, 11, 12. You see on the bottom of the screen now in the Quoz. Here are some current odds, guys, and we'll get into the punting of the race. Right now, the favorite, are you ready for this? In the Whirlpool, Reef Runner is 6-5 odds on in the Whirlpool. A lot of U.S. money coming in on Reef Runner. Lazat right now with James Doyle is 5-2, or 3.5. Second choice, and the third choice right now, gentlemen, is the Asian horse Lugal at 7-1. The 11 horse that you guys are interested in a bit is 50-1 right now in the Whirlpool. So those are some odds. Let's go and look at some odds right now in Europe. These are live odds. Lazat is the odds-on horse. You can see on the screen there at the top, ladies and gentlemen, followed by Lugal and Reef Runner. So those are the accepted top three, but the odds are definitely different, especially on Reef Runner. And by the way, the 7 horse in that last race, guys, the Buick Appleby horse was nowhere to be found and took money. Yeah. Okay, Davey, you're gonna be first, my friend. Let's get into the Quoz. Your thoughts? You have Lazat on top, who ran a big race last time in Saudi, but had a wide draw.
It's the top quality Group 1 horse in sprinting in the last 2 years in what's been a relatively weak division, but more so weak in Great Britain. And this is a French-based horse. It's owned by Wathnan, and that's a clue in itself, because at some point it's purchased because it was good, because they know what they're doing in terms of purchasing. It's been turned over a lot of times at a low price, so you got to be beware of that. But a few things going in its advantage. I watched the race from 2017, the Arrogate year, which was an unusual year with a lot of rain, yielding course. The low drawn numbers in that race. I think there was a Joe Rosario horse, 66-1, came in for second. A random French horse won the race, 25-1. So the focus for me, even though I initially liked horses drawn wide, was to look low. And 7 is low enough in this context.
Hey, so Davey, let me explain for our U.S. punters about low and high. So when Davey says a low draw, we're talking about low numbers. So Lazat is in post 7, which is more in the middle. The lower draw is further away from the grandstand, correct, Davey? And the higher draw is closer to the fans, correct? Yeah,
correct. And 7 is low enough. You know, it's not double figures. It's a 13-horse race, although there is a scratch in there. So I'm just going with what I think is the best horse in the race in the conditions. Now I've got some other points to make about who could maybe challenge it, and one would be the Japanese horse Lugal. Now, there's one thing I often bring up on the show about the PPs and the data and why racing is kind of backwards. you know, the Formula One with the heart rates of the drivers, the rugby, everything's data, and racing is just stuck in the dark ages. Now, Lugal, if this race was round the bend, maybe I wouldn't fancy him too much, but it's a big horse. Now, I'd like to know how heavy he is, how tall he is. We don't get that data, but on a straight track, this would probably suit Lugal better than it would be on a curved track. So I think this is one of Japan's best sprinters, and I would have him there. And finally, my number 3 horse would be Montel, which I'm based on the soft ground, and it looks to me still like a little bit softer over there, no matter how much sun they've had this afternoon.
Yes, there is some cut in the ground. Daniel, the track announcer, and I can't remember his name, I apologize, at Maidan, put something on X this morning, or this morning our time, afternoon time, and said that he was walking the turf. He believes it's relatively fair in terms of better paths, and he said he believed it was at the very worst, a good side of soft. Now, when we say soft in Dubai, that can't be possibly as soft in Shanti or Ascot, Daniel.
Emphatically, it can't. No, you can get real bogs in Europe at certain times of year. But a couple of key points here. I said that this is almost professionally embarrassing, what I was putting up as my 1, 2, 3, because I wrote an article a week ago on the website, putting up Reef Runner as grossly overpriced at 8 to 1 to confirm the form with Lazat last time out. However, this is a Californian horse, and this horse has never seen turf with any kind of yielding, give in the ground. This makes me nervous. I've got very cold feet about the Reef Runner, and if I could go back to all the horses I put up for this meet, the one I'm most nervous about is this one. I've now taken him out of the 3, even though you give me the classic lightning fast Maidan ground that they normally get, and I reckon he's the bet against Lazat. But so I'm reluctantly put Lazat on top, despite the fact that this is a punter's enemy. You know, as Davies pointed out, he's been turned over in his last 4 races at 1 to 2, even money, 6 to 4, and 2 to 1. If you're being 4 times in a row and you're losing your money at prices like that, it's like Einstein, isn't it? Madness is doing the same thing and expect things to change. But
yes,
in this race, he's got given the ground, which we know he handles. Reef Runner is an absolute unknown. And then Lazat really does seem to me to tower on form over the others, with the exception of the Japanese horse, who I kind of think is a little bit long in the tooth. That could come back to bite me. So I've left him out of the 3. I get Davies' points there. I put in the 2 French horses, Rayevka and Monte. Rayevka, I've left there. I know Graffard, of course, trains Calandigan. He's got some really good chances on the card. Graffard was interviewed a few days ago saying everything good for Calandigan. He'll be fine on the ground. Rayevka, he said, this is not so good. This is not really what she wants. Now, her best piece of form came at Royal Ascot, and that was on lightning fast ground, but she's won on soft ground. So I think she can handle it. But Monte's trainer, Mario Baratti, he's been praying that this rain comes, because he really thinks this will make a difference. If you look at some of Monte's form, like at the likes of Royal Ascot and all the rest of it, it looks like she's not up to handling this kind of company. But she was 7th in the Abbey when blocked. She got the inside stall. You want to be low, draw low in the Abbey, but if you're behind horse and you don't get through, you don't get through. 7th out of 16 is still high-class sprinting form. She's beaten Rayevka before. I just thought she could outrun her odds. The final thing I'd like to say about the draw is it's not absolutely clear whether there's going to be a bias. We just don't know until the race is run. The big prep for this race, the Group 3, Grade 3 Nadal Sheba Sprint, which 6 of these, or even 7 of these horses are coming out of, was an absolute horror show in terms of race purity and non-bias, because 5 horses were on their own. Most of them are outsiders, and they filled pretty much the first 5 places. Rayevka and Monte were the losers on that. So I think their prices of these two fillies, French fillies, are artificially high because of that bias run. And I don't know if we get a chance to play that race. Worth seeing, because we give you a look at about 7 of these horses. But yeah, that's my stance on the race now. I've abandoned Reef Runner. Which,
well, if there's a common race, Daniel, that you'd like us to show, you can give me the where it was run and the date, and I could pull it up on the side if you have
Absolutely.
it.
So we're talking Maidan, this racetrack, 28th February. And
okay, let me see if I can bring that up. Do you know which race number? Do you remember? Do you know which race? I can look that up actually. Let me do that. You're talking about, this is the prep you're talking about for this race, correct?
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
Okay, I'm as we speak, I'm looking for it here.
I'm thinking it's your second or third race on the card. It's early on, six furlongs on the turf.
Let me see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find it on the side here. Davey, where's that superstar turf sprinter that won in Australia? I thought that one was running here. No, they're going to wait for. They're going to wait for Ascot.
In Australia, there's a big tradition of handicaps, and they're not afraid to run their greatest potential prospect in a race against, long in the tooth, salty horses in 30 horse fields, and if he loses, he loses. So, and the horse went against those horses with a bad draw and was beaten. So no cigar for that horse coming over here, but Ascot's a possibility. Only a 3-year-old, but very explosive, very, very explosive.
Was that one of the races you sent me in an email, Daniel, or no?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see if I can find that, guys.
It was won by a 50-1 shot who had never ridden over 6 furlongs before.
While Howard's looking, let me wax lyrical on a couple of other things. The horses.
Go ahead, guys.
The horses that could have a shout. One other thing to note too is that there are a couple of non-runners. So, unlike the States, there's a horse called Araby, which was drawn 1. Now, around the world, if a horse is a non-runner, that gate remains closed. There's no switching around of the horses. So, if gate 4 is a non-runner, they don't move all the horses in. That horse gets that gate remains completely empty. That's a subtle thing. So if he's a non-runner, that means Rayevka should have a bit more open space to her left as they come out. And these are subtle things to make a difference as horse run into a bit of space. And that could hamstring Rayevka just a little bit. Other things to note, wiser out, there's a horse called Run Boy Run, and that had good winning provincial form in the UK on soft ground, but it's drawn wide. So I'm cautious about the wide horses. I like Run Boy Run, drawn 11. I like Great Wish, drawn 10.
Whatever it's never ordinary at 365.
Yeah, Howard's got the race up now. But
I'm trying to get it up, but I can't do it. Anyway, go ahead, guys. Go ahead, keep talking.
Those wide draws put me off a little bit because I like all 3 horses at double-figure prices. But I'm playing the percentages, and that's why I'm with the 2 French horses drawn 2 and 6, Lazat drawn 7, and Rayevka. That's where I'm at.
Howard, do you mind if I mention just a couple of other horses? Because
of course, yeah. Go ahead, guys. You guys doing great. Please do. Go ahead.
Yeah, just the ones we haven't mentioned. That Nadal Shiba Sprint, the prep for this, which had 7 of the field, although one has dropped out. Araby's dropped out, as David pointed out. It was won by this outsider, Native Approach, who was dropping to 6 furlongs for the first time. So maybe that's the key to Native Approach. But there was a draw bias, and it was a 50-1 winner. The ones I mentioned who were drawn badly, Rayevka and Monte was one, but Great Wish, this horse from Scandinavia, and you don't see too many Scandinavian horses running in high level in Europe. Occasionally they do come to the Middle East. Great Wish was against, ran against the bias there. So that's worth marking up. Came 4th, and another horse we should mention is the 3-year-old Northern Champion. For Ed Walker, I think it might have had a horse that won in the earlier today. Northern Champion has come to the Middle East and won 2 straight, but at a lower level. It's a conditions race, and the 3-year-old almost won this 3 or 4 years ago. Star of Mystery for Buick and Appleby, and they do get a big weight concession But the difference between the two is that Star of Mystery was already running in graded stakes races, and Northern Champion, as I say, yet to go into anything this deep. It's just we just don't know the ceiling of this guy, how good he might be. Northern Champion, having won 2 straight, and with the 3-year-old, he does get the weight. I just thought he was interesting, and
certainly Kieran Schumacher is fully capable. It feels, for just to sort of tie everything in a knot, wrap everything in a bow, as our American punters and people throughout the world are making their final decisions, as we have 4 minutes to post, guys. From the intel that you're giving me, it feels like it's either Lazat or it could be many others, and you don't trust Reef Runner. Would that be a fair way to summarize this race in general for both of you?
Yeah, for me, yeah.
I would have been all over Reef Runner like a rash if without the rain. I'm too worried, so I have thrown him out, but I could be wrong on that. By the way, we didn't mention the old boy, Cardem. Is he at 27 or something now? No, he's 10.
Yeah, 10, yeah.
Multiple Group 1 runner. He's another one. Reluctantly, I deserted because all his top level form is on.
Cardem is 16 to 1, gentlemen, in the Whirlpool. 16 to 1.
Yeah, that's unders. The horse needs firm ground. It won't do anything today.
Davey, in the Whirlpool, in the Whirlpool, the 3 is definitely tightening up, guys. Lugal's now down to 4 to 1, taking some late money in the market. Reef Runner is still a very soft favorite now at 9 to 5. Lazat 2 to 1. Lugal 4 to 1. The 1, 2, 3 horses are taking the bulk of the money. Anyone else would be an upset at this point. Actually, the French horse, number 12. Ryevka is definitely taking money, Daniel, in the Whirlpool at 7 to 1 right now.
I've just emailed you that Nadal Sheba race on YouTube link, Howard. If you click on your email, you might be able to. Okay,
let me do this.
YouTube link.
Yeah, I have it. Usually we show replays, ladies and gentlemen. Again, things came out late here, and it just wasn't as easily to do. The people that have watched our show know that we do like to show replays. You're talking about the Reef Runner race?
No, I'm talking about the race that.
The Cadem, the YouTube. We have that.
Yeah. I just sent it to you.
Actually, I have that one right now.
Yeah.
This was from the Breeders' Cup right here, Davey. Go ahead. If you want to talk about it. Whoops, sorry.
No, I know. I sent you the Maidan race from 2 weeks ago on email, just 2 minutes ago, not this race.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's called Nadal Sheba. It's in your inbox.
Okay, thank you. I'll see if we can get it up here.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
It's this time.
There's a lot of pace low.
Here it is, Davey.
We saw.
Yeah, there you go.
Here at
go ahead. You wanted to talk about it? Go ahead. I'll fast forward here.
Yeah, fast forward, and we'll get to see the horse that won the race was a miler, 7 furlong horse, and watch the gallop out of this horse. Even though it won the race going away, it just kept going. And it's every horse they split into 2 groups. I'm not sure if they'll split into 2 groups today, but Daniel can talk about it better. He just described it earlier. So carry on, Daniel.
Well, yeah, you could just see that far group, the low drawn. They've had the pace, and I think there might have been a grand bias as well. But Great Wish in the middle has moved over, the only one who gets close. And then you've got Ryevka and Monte in the green and white on the near side. They win their group, but they can't win this race. I think they're almost all in, Howard.
Okay, let's get to it, guys. Sorry about that. Let me see if we can get to it here. Apologize. Let me see here. Yep, thank you.
Group 1.
We can hear that, guys?
Yeah, we can hear.
Easy Developments.
All right, good timing. Thanks, Daniel. Here we go. The Quoz. Good luck, everyone.
Runners are set and racing in the Quoz Sprint. Northern Champion jumped better than any of them. Lazat is also sent in front and center early with Lugal. Then came Ryevka, who's using the inside gate. Monte next. Native Approach also forward to the center of the course with Run Boy Run. Lazat now dropping back midfield with Reef Runner. Then came Monte. Last of all, Cardem and Cover Up their second last and last. It's Native Approach who leads narrowly down the center of the course here. A length in advance of Lugal in second position. Lazat was next. Ryevka forward is racing in isolation now with Monte, the French French fillies go together on the far side. Working through is Lazat. Then came Reef Runner, who's hampered at the moment. Next there was Great Wish, followed by, on the near side, Run Boy Run, Kadam, and Cover Up. It is Native Approach, the leader, as they come to the 300-metre mark from Lugal, who gets on terms. Lazat next. Good finish coming up. Here's Monte working over on the far side with Rievka. Then came Great Wish. It's Lugal, the leader, from Native Approach. Lugal, Native Approach, gets to the eye line here of Lugal. Coming past Native Approach. Lugal kicking back at the line. Native Approach will do enough. Native Approach in the all-Quoz sprint for the UAE. Goes on to win from Lugal. Lazat third across from Reef Runner. Photo finish there, along with Rievka. Then came Monte, who certainly presented with a run with 100 to go. Next over was Great Wish, followed there by Cardam. Then came Northern Champion. And last one to greet the judge, Run Boy Run.
7-3. I'm not sure who got second. Tough beat for the Asian horse Lugal. Native Approach 31-1 with the upset in the Quoz. Reef Runner had problems. Lazat just didn't really kick in. It looks like, again, Daniel, it's just disappointing. Finished third. I believe Reef Runner finished fourth, guys.
Yeah, so Reef Runner ran well, but on that ground, alas, he didn't get it. This is the same horse that shocked 50-1 that Nadal Sheba sprint you just showed before then. First time dropped to 6 furlongs, and that was obviously the key. There seemed to be a pace bias that day, but he's done it again. And yeah, made fools out of us and made fools out of most bettors. Good people who are on him. You got a real price for the second time running with this horse.
Davey, very selfishly, for you and myself and our good friend Phil Edwards, we do have that horse as a C in our pick 6. So we actually are alive, but now we need a chalk fest, Davey. Which we're gonna hope for favorites now the rest of the way. But we are alive in the pick 6, though, Davey. I'm watching the replay. Guys, Reef Runner ran a huge race. I mean, he had trouble in behind. He went all the way down to the inside rail and looked like he had run. Very unlucky. I'm watching the replay here. I didn't see any excuses for Lugal, Davey, really at all. He just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, and we brought the race up a minute before we watched this race. The horse was galloping out. It was a mile 7 furlong horse most of its career, and it just kept going and going in its previous race. So the big clue was there. And obviously that's my fear with the horse was that the 12 draw was going to impact him, but didn't work out that way.
I did not really see an excuse for Lazat here, Daniel. Did you?
No, none at all. But what did surprise me is that he ran slightly contrary to his running style, which is really to get out there and put it to them, or at the very least sit right off the leader. But he was sort of restrained, much more than I expected. Maybe the jockey thought they were going too fast. I don't know, but he didn't pick up, and he wasn't anywhere near them at the end. A
little jockey error by James Doyle, if we might say a little bit cheekily, Daniel. Or you rather not say that?
Well, no. I know absolutely nothing about riding horses, other than with the Ocean Murphy thing. I could see 7 wide wasn't great on 115 last time out, but whether or not he wasn't doing the right thing for this horse on this day, I don't know. Maybe it was too instructive, but it was just unusual. That's not the way Lazat runs.
Well, Davey, he actually got one of the first calls by the track announcer was Lazat. Perhaps James did a little miscalculation, or maybe just unlucky. Or maybe it was written to instructions, Davey. We don't know. Yeah,
the horse has had it. The horse has had it. As the Americans say, the divorce papers are in the mail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, our good friend. I will say, I know Lazat is talented and runs some big races.
Yeah.
But Emmett Kennedy, Daniel, who's a good friend of the show, does a great job of the Final Furlong podcast, has called in general. This was last year, or actually last few years in general. He called the Euro 5 furlong turf sprinters, quote, rubbish, unquote. He just doesn't think they're very good. In general, they beat up on each other, and maybe this is another indication of that, sir.
Absolutely right. It's generally accepted that in Britain, France, Ireland, that the 5 furlong and even 6 furlong division is kind of as weak as it's been for a very long time. And this, depressingly, despite the fact that the breeding industry is breeding more to speed and away from middle distance horses, it's quite worrying. Now, our sprinters compared to Hong Kong, Australia, and it's on the turf. It's pretty depressing.
Well, this is going to completely blow up the tote board. It's going to blow up. There was a pick 5 that actually started in this race as well. I mean, I'm not a big turf sprint fan in general. Daniel and Davey. Davey knows that. Daniel wouldn't. I know you watch the show, Daniel, but we have 5 furlong turf sprints here, and just one little mistake, and you just have no chance. I'm not a big fan of those kind of races in general. There are angles, of course, and whatnot. I prefer 2-turn races personally. Let me get some comments in the chat if I see something that's worthwhile. Roshan's a big fan of the show, who actually has some connections with Godolphin and some of the people over there. Said happy Dubai World Cup Day. What's up, Roshan? I'm sure he's probably on track, guys, I would assume. Let me see here. I'm looking at some other comments in the chat, and I don't see anything in general. Again, a lot of people enjoying the show. Okay, sorry we were a little late in bringing up the feed there as well, but I think we got the whole race in. Well, yeah. Davey, let's talk about this for a second, and then we'll get into the next race. What does this do for the pick 6? I mean, I don't know about the liquidity today in the pick 6, but it is not easy to find those 2 horses for sure that just won those first 2 legs.
Yeah, I know that we were tossing around between B and C beforehand, and these things are difficult to get on. It was a case of how wet the turf was, for Monte and so on. So, I mean, I did speak about it before, that the 3 horses that are long shots that I was worried about, the drawn 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, and one of them did come to the fore. So I think some people might have it because the last race was very impressive.
It was, but he still went off 31-1, Daniel, in the Whirlpool. So people just were not believers at all, Daniel.
Yeah, no, they were 31-1 in Whirlpool, 28-1 with was the final price over here in Europe.
Okay.
I'd like to point out one thing.
Hey guys, this is the jock. Sorry, let's hear this.
And when I first sat on him there, when we got him at the start of the season, I said to the boss, he feels like a sprinter, and he puts his heart in his sleeve every morning. It's not easy. Issa Al-Balushi, he rides him out every day and does his piece of work. He does a phenomenal job, just as well as the rest of the team, obviously, to get them prepped to come here on big night and perform like that. It's just a great team to be a part of, and I've got a lot of people to thank, but I'll be here all night,
And just tell us a little bit quickly about your association with Ahmed, because it runs pretty deep.
Yeah, listen up.
That was Connor Beasley, the winning jockey. Is he a local rider, guys? I'm not too familiar with him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's a jockey who's based in Dubai for maybe the last 5 or 6 years. He rides the provincial Northern English tracks mostly. Unheralded, good jockey. I don't know, maybe Daniel knows more about him. I'm actually not even sure where he's from. He sounds like he's from the Northeast, if that sounds like his accent right there.
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly, but you do good stuff out in the Middle East. I'd just like to point out, quite interesting, the order of finish in that race. We were talking about potential draw and drawn high and drawn low. They were drawn 12, 9, 7, 5, and it seemed to be the pace. The pace was coming on the high end, and Reef Runner came over to that. I noticed that the fillies, Raevka was drawn low, and Monte decided to go over behind Raevka. And the first couple of furlongs, if you remember, those 2 fillies were ploughing their lone furrow on the lower stall side. And anyway, that doesn't seem to have worked out. They came there. Monte at one stage was vying for the lead, I think, furlong and a half out, but just didn't see it out.
There's definitely moisture in the turf course, because we've all watched thousands of races. They're not kicking up a lot of clods of turf, which I like, but I don't quite see that instantaneous turn of foot that we normally see, gentlemen. Would you agree with that?
Possibly, yeah. Do we know the final time figure for that? Because I've got the last 10 years of Quoz sprints. If we could get a time that was on the screen when it was
I
being
have the
recorded.
sound. I have the sound off, and I have not seen the time. But Daniel, if I get it, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that. Yeah.
It seemed to be a fairly run race. I mean, I don't from that standpoint. I believe every horse had a chance. I'll say one thing, guys. Lugal was on the wrong lead for a good portion of that race. And I know because there's no turn, lead switches aren't nearly as important. But I just wonder if he was able to switch leads, if he would be able to win that race, because the winner was on the correct lead the entire way there. So just something from a visual handicapping standpoint worth mentioning. Last question, guys, then we'll move on. Let me take the banners off the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. Quick commercial break as well pretty soon. Going forward, Daniel and Davey, let's have you first, Davey. Going forward into the summer, and let's say Ascot, any of these horses tickle your fancy that we just saw run?
Yeah, I'll come in straight with the filly. I'd keep the faith with the filly Rayevka. Those Aga Khan, Grafa, Barcelona colours. He did express clear concern that she wasn't getting the fast ground she liked. She ran very well at Ascot last year, and I think this time you'll get a price. I'm sure she'll go back to Oxford. I guess she goes for the QE2. I'll look keenly at how the bookmakers price that up. They haven't yet.
Yeah. And that's the whole key to anti-post, right? You see these races that Rayevka she didn't run very well. Now you're going to get that nice anti-post price going forward. That's why I want to bring this up, Daniel, especially for our American punters who are going to play Ascot, in June, and maybe they can put in their mind or write down, hey, Rayevka might be a horse you might want to play back. Davey, any horses coming out of this race that we should mention for American punters going forward?
Well, one thing to note is that the horse Northern Champion is a 3-year-old. So there's a 3-year-old race for sprinters, the Commonwealth Cup, that could be up that alleyway. And it prefers firmer ground, which you'll get at Ascot. Now, I know that's a state-by-state thing, and one of our behemoth bookmakers, Bet365, is available in some states, but not in other states, and so on. So maybe if you live in a certain state and you can bet 365, you can find some of these anti-post prices. I don't know. The American betting industry is changing a lot in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's all about how the state legislatures change the laws. So keep your eye on the local laws and the local, whether you can get some anti-post pricing on. And in that case, Daniel's work then becomes, it'll become messianic for American punters if he can get it there,
Yes, I agree with that. Native Approach, by the way, $65 to win, $22.80 to place, and 11 to show. Lugal $660 and 5. Lazat $280 to show. If you were lucky enough to have the dollar exacta, it paid $245, and the 50-cent trifecta, a juicy $487. Unfortunately, Daniel couldn't give us that one, but hey, you guys did like the 1 and the 3. The double, by the way, Davey, which is some interest to you and I, or anyone that's playing horizontally, the $1 double paid $673. What that means is even if chalk comes in, Davey, the rest of the way, this pick six is absolutely going to pay 4 digits, if not closer to 5 digits, depending on how much money's in the pool.
Right. If the chalk follows the rest of the way. Interesting. Okay.
Right.
So pity it wasn't a B. But anyway, so we will see. Fingers crossed.
Yes, we will see. Let's do this, gentlemen. We've got, let me see how much time. We have 21 minutes to the Dubai Golden Shaheen. I think this would be a great time to take a very short break. So we're going to take a 2-minute break. I'm going to take these gentlemen off screen. Go ahead, grab a little breakfast or lunch or beverage, depending on where you are in the world. We'll come back with race 6 at Meydan. It'll be the Dubai Golden Shaheen with the very popular heavy favorite right now. Ben Tornado is 1-5. 1-5. It's 20 cents to the dollar right now in the World Pool, and he is a very, very good horse Jose Ortiz in to ride Ben Tornado in this race. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few things on screen. Let's put that scroll up. I'll go ahead and switch the banner, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in about 2 minutes right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for joining us. Hello, welcome back. This is your host, Howard Kravitz, along with the anti-poster, Daniel Morgan and Davey Lane joining us right now. We are back here. It is Dubai World Cup Day. Thanks for joining us, everyone, in the United States and worldwide. We are having a fantastic morning and afternoon, depending on where you are, as we've seen two very exciting races so far, the UAE Derby and just run a long shot, a roughie winning the Quoz sprint. And now what we do, gentlemen, is we get into a part of the card that I want to talk about. We have 15 minutes to go in Shaheen. Let me just say this right off the start, guys. There are two major factors going on in Meydan that were completely unforeseen several weeks ago. I'll talk about the weather in a little bit, but we are not going to talk about politics here, obviously. But Davey, I wanted to ask you this question because Daniel Davies is very well versed in geopolitics. He was a whoops. I'll take him off the screen. Well, we'll get him back on. Davies very well versed in politics. He was a political science major and whatnot. Davey, are we good with your? Yeah. Okay. Davey, I know I didn't prep you on this, and I would like you to be brief. Let me ask you two questions. You're very well versed into world politics and you have political science background. Number one, are you surprised that this card is even being run today with the unfortunate world events going on? And number two, how are they even able to pull this thing off? It's absolutely unbelievable.
It depends. I mean, a few weeks ago, I would have been surprised, but the more I saw how the conflict was developing, you have to realize that when wars and conflicts happen, they often happen in little micro areas. For example, you can be in city X in, say, Israel, and a street gets bombed half a mile away. It doesn't affect your life at all. And it's the same with Dubai. If some radar installation gets bombed 7 miles away from Meydan, it kind of doesn't really affect your life, So this is what, people assume that wars are just non-stop conflict between gung-ho guys facing each other. And they're not. They're just a series of pinpricks across various places. And the escalation ladder is going up, but it's not at the escalation ladder of what we think is like total full-on war. It's, tit for tat, knocking each other. So eventually, a lot of people live in this town and they go about their lives, and their lives are uninterrupted until there are shortages of food and water and other things. And that's in the hands of the people who choose to escalate this, both sides right now. So
yeah.
Because eventually the rest of us will be running out of our medicines and our stuff. So, the pressure has to come to bear to guys, put an end to this. So it's a very cagey situation, very dangerous.
Well, obviously we hope everyone stays safe, Daniel. That obviously, without saying that, from a pure horse racing perspective, what's happened, Daniel, is we are very happy they're able to run the races. The problem is from a pure horse racing perspective, some of these fields are not as strong as they were supposed to be. I mean, the Shima Classic was going to be one of the best ever. I mean, there were incredible amount of grade 1 horses group 1 horses lined up for this race. And unfortunately, again, no, Daniel, I mean, it's a horse race. People are not dying. There's a lot more important things. But for what we're doing and what we're talking about today, these fields in these last 4 races have really been dwindled, and there's some very, very heavy favorites who are very likable to win, like Ben Tornado coming up here in the spring.
Absolutely, yeah. It has the conflict and the decision not to send certain horses has definitely changed the caliber of these fields. I mean, I would say, in one sense, this was always going to go ahead, was my gut feeling, as long as bombs weren't actually falling on Dubai itself. I know right at the beginning you saw one of the hotels in flames, but everyone's life there has been pretty much completely normal for the last couple of weeks. And let's not forget, Dubai is ruled by Sheikh Mohammed Al Maktoum, whose great passion is horse racing. And if it could go ahead, it was always going to go ahead.
Yeah.
We lost coming to the Golden Shaheen, which we will, of course, lost a big one here. But wasn't Bookham Dano coming over for this?
Well, Bookham Dano they were thinking about coming over. I'm not going to say the war was the only reason they didn't come over. Their connections, who, by the way, Daniel, have been on our podcast, if you might have seen their ownership, has been on our podcast before. They've always been a little bit wishy-washy as to where they want to go. As of right now, it was never really for sure they were going to come here, even if there was no war. So they've been very cautious with their horse. I'm not sure how much the war affected their decision or not. So, but yes, that would have been fun to see Bookham Dano here. Let's get into the guys. Ben Tornado.
Just one final thing, Howard. I just would say, I mean, the good thing is, in terms of these marquee races we're coming to, is at least in each case they kept a star. Do you know what I mean? We've got the best in the world, basically.
Yes, for sure. For those of you that are just joining us, we have a lot of new people joining us right now. We again, we're live. We are going to be showing the audio of races 6 and 7. We are going to talk about races 8 and 9, but we are not going to be on air. This podcast will end after race 7. Let me put us on screen. There's 2 reasons mainly, folks. Number one, the last 2 races figure to have very, very heavy favorites. And just from a betting perspective, they're not great races to talk about. And number 2, our races here in the States are going to be starting. Gulfstream in Florida is starting early today for the big card. And I really don't want to get in the way, to be honest, gentlemen, of the American racing here. So that's the main reason. I do, guys, want to talk about, there's 10 minutes. Let's talk about this race. Ben Tornado. I do want to talk about Albert Einstein and possibly show that audio, guys, also, or play the audio. Go ahead, Davey.
Yeah, let's make sure we got our selections up on the ticker for the folks at home.
Yes.
And I'll give them a last minute selection.
Go ahead and do that right now. What do you guys, hold on 1 second, please. Let's go to
race 6.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Dave. What do you got?
110-4.
Okay. Daniel, what do you have, sir?
I'm going to revert to you in just 1 minute. I've managed to have mislaid my notes for the Golden Shaheen, which is not great.
Yeah. All right, no problem. Well, as Daniel looks for that, Davey's going 110-4. Let's talk about Ben Tornado, Davey. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of this horse. I know he's a big favorite. He won in Saudi with a trip that was not, not ideal. Yeah. This is a very, very, or am I confused? Did he run in Saudi, or am I thinking of imagination now? I'm sorry. Yeah, he ran. Okay, I was thinking of something else.
Ben Tornado last ran in Del Mar.
Del Mar, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, this is his first run back. I had him confused with imagination. I apologize, everyone.
Yeah.
I tipped him out on our show, Davey, to many people, and somehow we got 2.7 to 1 in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Yes. This is a very, very, very talented horse. It is his first run. Since then, I have no reason to go against this horse. He's a heavy favorite here.
Yeah, no, do I, but I think it's going to be close. And I like the Chilean-bred Mufasa to come late. That horse has looked very good every time it's come to the...
Yep, we're having a problem with Davey again. Well, Davey, we've been chasing Mufasa a little bit. Did you find your notes, Daniel?
Yeah, all good. I'll just give you the numbers now.
Yep.
I've got 1-8-2, so that's Bentonotto Nakatomi.
Okay.
Twos.
Amazing. You guys have the same top 3 horses in each of your picks there. There we go.
I thought David mentioned Mufasa, who was 10. Has he got? No, we both.
We got your back, Davey. Go ahead, Mufasa.
Yeah. Sorry, there was I'm using my phone, and the phone rang, and that causes the StreamYard to go off. So yeah, Mufasa wasn't ridden so good by Tiger Shea initially, and Ryan Moore came in for the ride, held him up, and he came out the gates last in the previous race. But I think it was by design. And because they know the horse has got a tremendous kick in it when you use it. So I think this horse is a threat to catch Ben Tornado in the last sort of furlong and a half and a long straight. And it's really a case of if Ben Tornado can get ahead. And Mufasa is a great price at 16 to 1.
So Mufasa is a horse I know very well, Daniel, because Mufasa beat a horse named White Abario about 2 years ago in Gulfstream in a prep race, and I loved Mufasa that day. I'm going to slightly disagree with my good friend Davey about this race, Daniel. I think Mufasa, you can make the argument he's been held up too long, and he has not been ridden well. He's already 6. I just don't think he's the same horse as he was when he's younger. I'd be very surprised if he wins this race. I think Ben Tornado is, I won't say a cinch here, but if he runs his race similar to Forever Young, in my opinion, this Ben Tornado is going to win this race. A horse I'd be more interested is maybe Al Nasib, who I know didn't beat much last time, but is a local horse. or maybe Nakatomi can fire his best. He's run well before. I just personally don't see it today with Mufasa. What's your thoughts? You've got 182, so you have Nakatomi in second also.
I do, yeah. I share your skepticism on Mufasa. My take on this horse is also he's a 7 furlong horse. I just think 6 furlongs is not far enough. That said,
I agree.
The UAE Derby, which we just saw earlier, that was the ninth slowest at the last 10 runnings. So again, confirmation this dirt track is playing slow. So maybe Mufasa could come late. I went for a different sort of late runner, as in Nakatomi. I know this guy's long in the tooth, and there's quite a few disappointing runs on his CV. And it was the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Del Mar was disappointing, but that's not his track. This is his track. He's been here twice. He finished third in the 2024 edition when he had trouble, and he was a quarter length off getting all the money in this last year, just beaten into second by the horse who led her all the way, Dark Saffron. So I just thought with a good draw, he was overpriced to get a piece of this. The closer I left out reluctantly is Lovesick Blues, you know, the winner of your Bing Crosby at Del Mar.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to Lovesick Blues in Riyadh Dirt Sprint in Saudi. He must have been 20 lengths off the pace in that race. Flew home, but you can't sport these other horses 20 lengths and expect to pick him up. So if he can stay closer, then he's a threat. But yeah, Bentonata, I put him on top just because he's the king dirt sprinter in the world. He's only been beaten once over 6 furlongs, and that was a quarter length or whatever to Straight No Chaser in the 24 Breeders' Cup. So what's not to like? Unless this slow track just finds him out in the last half furlong or furlong. It's fascinating.
Midland Money, by the way, is a horse used to be trained by Baffert and was very good at times. I have no idea what to expect today, but just Midland Money is a pretty fast horse when he's at his best. The speed should come from the outside, ladies and gentlemen, from American Stage and Tuz, who's an old timer who used to be very good. I just don't think he's the same anymore. Ben Tornado and Jose Ortiz, who, by the way, is 1-2 right now, guys, in the betting.
What?
Let me check to see what the betting is over in Europe. Sorry, can't show that. Let me see. What do you guys have in terms of your betting?
Howard, Midland Money. This is very interesting. I mean, that race, the Malibu, it wasn't far behind Goal Oriented. That got a huge speed figure, didn't it?
Yes.
Again,
he's run some fast races.
Yeah, it was just small field, 7 furlongs. This is like a big field, 6 furlongs, and a place he's never been to before. So it's a big ask, but he caught the eye as an interesting horse, certainly.
Guys, again, the Whirlpool is much different from you guys are betting in Europe. I think there's a lot of American influence there because they're betting Ben Tornado in the Whirlpool like he can't lose. And Al Nassib and Tuz are taking a decent amount of money in your neck of the woods, Davey Lane.
Well, Tuz was the winner last year, and people don't forget that. I think it was a Russian-based horse originally, wasn't he?
Yes.
And that's what people are going with what they know. One other thing about Midland Money to bear in mind is that horse is based with Michael Costa, who's been training over in Jebel Ali for the last few years, but he's actually leaving the UAE shortly. But Jebel Ali is a track with a big steep hill. So Midland Money's probably getting some like stamina into his legs that he would never have had based on the flat tracks in the USA. So there could be an upswing based on his training regime. I don't know.
This race is usually run about 1:11. That's usually the final time on a normal track. I think we're going to look closer about 1:12 today, guys. But it's just going to be interesting to see. Daniel, the other thing is they're behind the gate. We're not going to miss anything here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we're going to be playing the sound. Ben Tornado breaks from the 2-hole. That's absolutely, I see no issues there. El Nassib is breaking to his inside and is a little bit deeper closer, I think. So Ben Tornado should get a very good stalking trip here. As the day goes along, Daniel, and the temperature gets cooler and gets darker, that does usually speed up the track at Meydan. I just want to mention that.
Yeah, okay, because the sun is there. The sun is going to go down there not too long after now, is it? But it's
pretty much dark there now. So I just want to mention that. Okay. Nakatomi is the only one that's taking money in the Whirlpool at 6-1. El Nassib is at 9 right now as I'm looking. Let's see, and then Tuz, etc. I mean, This is Ben Tornado. Davey, you and I need Ben Tornado to stay alive in the pick 6. We do have Mufasa as a backup. I guess if I were to give out picks here, I would go, I'll go 1-4-6. I'm going to go 1-4-6. Davey's going 1-10-4. Daniel's going 1-8-2 in the $2 million Golden Shaheen. And then after this, there are 2 turf races and the Dubai World Cup. We'll be talking extensively about turf racing, distance turf racing after this race, gentlemen. Ben Tornado, of course, won the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year at 2.7 to 1 for myself and many other people here in the States. Jose Ortiz flying all the way across the world to ride Ben Tornado. Guys, that's something to note because there's some big races, of course, in the United States, but he's also there to ride Magnitude as well. I mean, he's really there to ride Magnitude, but nothing wrong with picking up Ben Tornado. For those people that are foreign punters, maybe you live in Europe and you're not familiar with our jockeys, Jose Ortiz is the brother of Irad Ortiz. He's one of the top 2 or 3 jockeys in the country. All right, they're loading, guys. Good luck to everyone in the Golden Shaheen. Ben Tornado, odds on 2-5 in the world.
There's colour up going forward. Reminder that Ben Tornado comes out of stall number 2. Tuz out of 9. El Nasib out of gate number 1. Pace Angle from Dark Saffron in 12. Lovesick Blues out of 6. Let's join Pat.
It's always an exciting race, this one. Thank you very much, as we have about 4 runners left to come forward. Midland Money will join the line with Nakatomi. His Cats by 5. Loading away for Danny Tudhope, who's drawn a wide alley here. He's coming out of 12. Midland Money, cleared and fit to start here by the vets at the gates, joins and links in. Here's Mufasa. Loading away, that leaves 2 runners, Nakatomi and Dark Saffron, and will be set here for the $2 million Dubai Golden Shaheen. Second Group 1 of the night for the thoroughbreds, ready to go. And racing, away they go. Dark Saffron leapt out of the machines, and he heads up in the early part. Kicking forward is Tuz, working up with American Stage. Ben Tornado's in the first 4. A length to Kanjar from Midland Money midfield. The inside Mufasa and Cats by 5 off the track. A length and a half to Nakatomi from Colour Up. Then came Lovesick Blues, and El Nasib from 1 heads back to the end of proceedings. It's Tuz who leads them. Half a length to Dark Saffron, who sits to his outer and is very, very close. Poised to strike from Kanjar in 3rd. Ben Tornado gets the run in behind them and will be sweating on a run shortly. Midland Money next from American Stage. And came Mufasa, Cats by 5. Lovesick Blues under a ride from Colour Up and Nakatomi as they swing the bend. And Dark Saffron comes into the straight, a narrow leader. Half a length on Tuz. Then came Ben Tornado, who's in pursuit from Dark Saffron. Dark Saffron from Ben Tornado. Tuz running on, Cats by 5 and Mufasa. But Dark Saffron's finding another gear. Dark Saffron from Ben Tornado, who's trying to make chase here. He's 2 lengths away. It is Dark Saffron clear. He's turned the corner, and it's back-to-back Shaheens for Dark Saffron. Beasley and Bin Hamish again. 2 lengths to Ben Tornado. Cats by 5 next across. Then came Tuz from Nakatomi. Next over Mufasa. Colour Up, Lovesick Blues. Dropping away El Nasib. Then came Kanjar, Midland Money. And last in American Stage.
Dark Saffron upsets Ben Tornado. Guys, that was 1:10-3. That was a very fast time, especially for this track.
He was off all season. Last race, he turned a
Well,
corner.
last year's winner, you know.
7-1-12-2.
In the race and competitive, and that's exactly what
23-1. Dark Saffron got a perfect trip, sat off a Tuz. I didn't really see an excuse for Ben Tornado. I got to tell you what, guys. I think Ben Tornado ran pretty much his race. Dark Saffron completely freaked, Daniel. As you can see, you're about as surprised as I am, my friend. You're muted, Daniel. Let's take care of that. You're muted, Daniel. You got to fix that.
Yeah, no, I'll just say, other than, I mean, it did this last year, didn't he? He came in off, but last year he came off some wins at a lower level and just kept the streak going. And this season, Dark Saffron's been really, really disappointing until last time he just came back and showed a bit more spark. but without anyone thinking that he was going to repeat what felt like a weak win last year. He appeals to me as he was the best horse in the race. There's no real excuses out there for any other horse.
Davey, I'm watching the pan shot. By the way, the camera angles, don't get me started. Jose Ortiz gave him a perfect ride. He tipped out. I thought at the top of the stretch he was going to go by. Dark Saffron got the jump, but I mean, at the top of the stretch, Ben Tornado had to make up, I don't know, a length and a half, 2 lengths. And I thought he actually ran very well. Just Dark Saffron just ran a hole in the wind today.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe, you know, Jose D'Angelo would be regretting not getting a prep into the horse if it hasn't ran since Del Mar in November, you know. Then that's what you've got to look at. You know, even if you go to a race and be prepared to lose, you know, just to get the cobwebs out, you know. And
well, if you're going to do it, why not doing a $2 million race? I mean, he's still going to win what 20% of that. He's going to get 400,000 there.
And Howard, quick shout out for Connor Beasley. This guy's having quite a night, isn't he?
Man.
Yeah.
I'm watching Jose Ortiz stay left-handed, guys, and sort of drifted out a little bit. I don't think that helped, but he was never getting to the winner, guys.
Yeah.
Connor Beasley, great call, Daniel. Wow.
Yeah. Maybe
let's see here. I'm looking at the comments in the chat here. A lot of people like ones going forward, obviously. Let's see. Roshan liked Tuz. I'm just looking over in the chat here. Let's see. Completely Freaked. He was faster last year, wasn't overlay. Yeah, but this track is totally different today, Daniel. That's why I say that.
Did you give us a time for that? I missed the time.
110 and 3. 110.68. How does that compare?
That's very interesting. That's the first time of the night that's not glacially slow compared to the 10-year average.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why, I mean, that was, you know, no disrespect to our wonderful people in the chat, but you can't compare this time to this track and this time to previous years. I mean, this is a much slower racetrack today.
Yeah, so it was a legit performance.
Can you rattle off the last few times of this race in the Shaheen, Daniel? Last few years, if you don't mind.
Last year, Dark Saffron 111.40. Tuz, very quick 110.19. Sibelius 110.69. Switzerland 111.13. Zenden, track record, dropped dead after the line, didn't he? 109.01. You can't run 109 dead on this track and survive it, basically. Won't say anything more, don't want litigation. It was much faster than last year on a track that can't have been any faster.
Yeah, I just didn't see this coming. Sometimes, Davey, you just put your hands in the air and say it is what it is. I mean, we didn't have this horse anywhere on our grid.
Yeah, that's sure. I mean, I know my friend Phil had discussed it, and he didn't bring it up this week, but he discussed it in prior weeks, prior races. He was sweet on the horse, you know, when it last ran, which was whenever that was, 4 weeks ago, something like this.
Okay.
So, that's when did it ran? 28th of February.
Yeah.
And it ran well, 22-1, second out of 10.
Yes.
You've got to, I mean, the horse, you know, the horse has had, you know, they've been building up to this. I mean, this is the 5th race the horse has had this year. So
right, but he's been facing much lesser and has been losing. So I mean,
losing, but second last time in a Group 3, and then sixth in a listed race. So they were slowly building the horse up to the eyes on the prize, weren't they? You know,
Yeah, but that second place last time, he's losing to El Nasib, who was nowhere to be found here, and Mufasa, who was nowhere to be found. So, I hear what you're saying. I didn't see this coming at all. But congratulations to Connor Beasley and the connections. Guys, I didn't prep you for this at all, but I thought I'd be interested. Race 4 at the Cur is about to go off. Daniel or Davey, tell us about a very talented 3-year-old named Albert Einstein, who's about to make his debut as 3-year-old season at the Cura. Again, I'm going to play the audio because the race is about to start here.
Right.
It's soft to heavy ground at the Curragh. Talk about the horse Albert Einstein, either one of you, for our American punters.
Well, there's every year we get the same old story with Aidan O'Brien. There's always some 3-year-old that's just going to be the greatest thing ever, right? So, if you every year around March, April is the one they're talking about. So, I almost zoned out of these conversations because there's one, and they're always well named with interesting names, and they're just about to be.
So race here at Curragh. This may well be the. He's missed.
Whether this horse is going to be anything, I don't know.
Albert Einstein.
All right, well, let's just go ahead and hear the quick audio of this race.
It's 130. He's odds on with us. Oh, I thought
7 furlongs,
really
I believe.
I thought he'd be about evens.
Albert Einstein, a heavy favorite.
Fancied.
We haven't seen this horse for 11 months.
Big stars of this year. Aidan O'Brien looking for the top horses in his stable, trying to establish what they are this early in the year. This could be one of them, Albert Einstein. He's got a big reputation at home, and he's unbeaten in 2 races. Chances are he'll be unbeaten after this one, but let's find out for sure by joining the commentary of Jerry Hannon.
There are over 7 furlongs. The 1xBet.ie supports Irish Racing Gladness Stakes. It's a listed race. Big Gossie, Wannabe Royal together, followed by Neolithic, Lord Masseuses, as they race across towards the elbow. And it is Wannabe Royal and Big Gossie, followed by Neolithic, Lord Masseuses, 10 Bob Tony, Princess Child. A little worse than mid-division, Albert Einstein in the purple and white, and then Saracen, followed by East Hampton, and Rami is the back marker. A little between Wannabe Royal and Neolithic, followed towards halfway by Big Gossie, and they're tracked by 10 Bob Tony, Lord Masseuses, Princess Child on the outside of Albert Einstein with the last 3, Saracen, East Hampton, and Rami. Very few changes from first to last. It is Wannabe Royal and Ronan Whelan, fractional leaders from Neolithic and Wayne Lorden, followed by Big Gossie and Billy Lee. Together next, 10 Bob Tony and Princess Child, being followed by Albert Einstein, Saracen next, and then East Hampton, racing towards the final couple of furlongs. Wannabe Royal still just has it from Big Gossie, Neolithic, and 10 Bob Tony, followed by Princess Child. Still well back is Albert Einstein with a furlong and a half to go. The 1xBet.ie supports Irish Racing Gladness Stakes, and it's tight between Wannabe Royal, Big Gossie over on the far side, digging in as he always does ahead of Neolithic, followed by 10 Bob Tony. East Hampton comes home well on the outside. Big Gossie in front as they race up towards the finish. A racing institution he is. Big Gossie wins it again from East Hampton. 10 Bob Tony.
Move on, Howard.
A racing institution.
Yeah.
Okay, so much for Albert Einstein. I guess he's not that smart, Daniel.
Well, yeah, I've been the talking horse. He's been off so long. I don't think you could say, though, in terms of the guineas, is he will have needed the run. And this was soft to heavy ground. The Newmarket, the Rolling Mile in 6 weeks' time, it'd be completely different conditions. But there has to be a doubt. Well, certainly has to be a doubt as to whether he's going to be their number 1 now. Yeah, you've got double figures about their next horse, Gestart, who you'll remember from the Breeders' Cup.
Yes.
He's got the best body of form of any juvenile, but because of this guy's being the talking horse, he's kind of been ignored. So interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what, the ground was very soft, but that is very disappointing for Albert Einstein. So sorry to put you through that, Davey. I thought, he's been getting a lot of talk on podcasts and just by Aidan, who has had some success over the years, but that's a major disappointment for that horse. All right, let's get back to Dubai. Go ahead, Davey.
Well, I mean, I think Ryan Moore is, I don't think he was particularly. I mean, people we've discussed the war and what have you. I don't think he was particularly keen on getting stuck in an airport if things went wrong for about 6 days or something like this. So this was a convenient excuse for everyone for him to give instead of the horse having a run around as a trial, put him in a race, get Ryan over here. Ryan doesn't take any abuse for not missing the races in Dubai, and everyone's happy, And that's how I see it. I know he was booked for lots of horses with money, but listen, you can't put a price on just getting a good night's sleep and not spending 6 hours or 6 days in an airport terminal. So, as you probably know, coming back from New Orleans, so with the TSA, so I wasn't paying any attention to the race. Let's focus on the next 3 and I just wasn't. Okay.
I hear you.
So,
all right.
yeah.
Davey, there's a horse named Ombudsman who is really, really, really good. The next race, which I'm switching to right now, and this is the last race that we're going to be playing audio for. Again, we're going to be going, the plan is about 35 more minutes on this show. Howard Kravitz, Daniel Morgan, the anti-poster, Davey Lane, two fantastic gents from the UK joining us this morning with a lot of success and a lot of fun and excellent horse racing talk and advice. The next race in Dubai is the Dubai Turf, $5 million US on the line. They have listed the turf as yielding, as what I'm looking at right now. I say it's more on the, firm side of soft. It might be listed good. I'm not sure, but it's not firm. Let's just say that for sure. I'm Budson right now, Buick and John Godson. I'll go ahead and show the past performances here, and I'll let you go first, Davey, about this very talented runner. The distance today is 1.1 miles, and that is, 1,600, right? 1,600 meters.
Yeah.
Or 1,800. 1,800, I'm sorry. 1,800 meters, my bad. Ombudsman, Davey, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's, well ahead on ratings of any other horse. It's one of the best horses in Britain in terms of middle distance or what we'd call middle distance horses in the UK. It should win on all known form. But again, it's first up. It hasn't ridden since October. So you've got a clue there with Bentoronado. That's why I was willing to take him on with Quoz, which is, the horse has had a couple of races already this year. So, this is a race I'm willing to take on the favorite despite the ratings, because it's a good gamble, it's a good bet, and I think Quoz is coming in into its own, and it's got form on soft ground, and so I would be taking on the favorite here.
Interesting. You're doing it with Quoz, correct?
Correct. Yeah, a Kingman, which is really a sort of a miler on firmish ground, but the horse has winning form on soft, and it's come into its own, and it's made its first ever 9 furlong race was last time, and it won from held up. It was often a horse that was taking the lead and going away, but it can do both. It's a good horse, and it's a good price. It's 12-1 the last time I looked. I don't know what it is now, but that would be my bet. Did I put that on my list? I probably didn't. On my 1, 2, 3, I haven't made it. I've made it second, but that's just to be, for the ticker. I am 1, 3, 2 on this race.
Okay, I was going to ask you guys for that. Davey is 1, 3, 2. Daniel?
Yeah.
What are you in your top 3, sir?
Yes, thanks. I am 1, 2, 3 numerical order. My take on Ombudsman is I'm completely torn. On any of his last 4 races, on official ratings, international handicapping ratings, time form, race best, any of his last 4 races beat any of the races that any of these other horses have on their CVs. It's just simple. He is by far the best horse in the race. But there's the drop to 9 furlongs. There's the seasonal reappearance, though he's bound to be fit, owned by the Sheikh Mohammed, essentially in Godolphin. So surely he'd run his race. But the 2 turf races we've had so far, this is funny ground. We've had shocks, haven't we? In the Dubai Gold Cup, which we didn't show, went to a complete outsider.
Yes.
Which luckily enough I was able to put up on a podcast a few days ago. We didn't cover that race. But then this last Alcor Sprint has just gone to an outsider as well. Maybe there's nothing in that. But if it's going to be a night of shocks on the turf, maybe you don't want to be weighing in at 1 to 2 or whatever you're getting. I'm going with the Japanese horse for my followers a few days ago. I said a sort of win and show combined bet, each way bet, as we call it, on Gaia Force. Gaia Force is getting long in the tooth, but he's got really, really solid form in his last 3 runs. It's not like he's losing it. He's getting older. He's got good form at times in with Jantar Mantar, who is the best miler in the Eastern Hemisphere. And he's got form with give on the ground. So I think he's got it all there. I think he's drawn wide. That's the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous. He's got the 11 of 11. That ain't great. And I'm with Davey that Quoz Although Quoz not always consistent. He's got 4 disappointments in his last 10, so he wouldn't be nailed on to run his race. But he handled cut in the ground and, really good turn of foot miler. So this 9 furlongs, that could work for him. Well, the only one I'll mention, other one I've left out, which I really feel bad about, is Factor Cheval, another old boy who, of course, won this 2 years ago. Now, Factor Cheval, I mean, his form on soft. I just want to give this to you just quickly. 1-1-4-1-3-2-2-2-2. Those 3 seconds are all Group 1s. There are 2 of them were in the QE2 mile on Ascot Champions Day. This is a horse who we know likes this track, and he handles soft ground. It's just whether he's too old. He hasn't won a race since this race 2 years ago. So I've left him out, but I'm nervous.
Yeah. Factor Cheval, Daniel, in the Whirlpool is down to 4-1. That is shocking to me.
Okay, they've come from the course form. Then they've honed in on the course form.
Yeah,
well,
I mean
that's true also. But there's people have comfort blanket in Team Valor, Gary Barber. This is people they know. So and it's a previous winner. So
that's fair. Let me ask you about the Japanese horse for a minute here, Gaia Force. Are you more concerned about the distance, Daniel, or the surface of the turf course?
No, I'm not convinced about the distance at all. I think if you look back in the PPs a long time back, I think you'll find this guy's won over 11 furlongs even.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's been focused on the mile for a long time, but I think he gets further. So I think 9 could be the sweet spot. It's just a question of people don't know this horse. So I think that's maybe why he's never run outside Japan, so the Europeans don't know him. I think he's neglected because of that. But the first time travel has got a question mark. The others have ticked that travel box.
Okay, and the softer turf would be a more concern then, correct?
Not too bad. He's got form on soft. I'm okay with him soft. It's the wide post wide post in the first time outside Japan that negative.
So I think at this level here in the States, we would call this horse a fuzzy, like sort of the unknown. We're not really sure what he's going to do, the interesting unknown factor, and sometimes that's a very good horse to go with. I'm looking at the odds here. Ombudsman, so must have taken a big win bet early because now he's drifted all the way up to 3-2 in the Whirlpool. Let's say people like Ombudsman, Davey. How low would you put a win bet on Ombudsman? What odds?
I just wouldn't. I wouldn't bet him at all at anything lower than 2-1. I mean, really.
Okay, that's interesting. I differ from that, and Davey, I'm going to think if you're getting better than even money, if you're getting 3-2, I think that's a good price. On the exchanges in Europe, the tightest price you can get at the moment is 4-6, so 2-3.
Right.
So he's heavily into odds-on territory over in Europe.
I didn't make Gaia Force than second. I would have been exactly with Daniel, other than the 11 draw. The horses that I would better describe as a perennial bridesmaid in terms of Group 1 Japanese races. I mean, it's a winner of Group 2. We were on a Group 2 like last time out. But so and Japanese middle distance horses are, well, let's say on the turf, are about the best in the world, aren't they? So this is a real competitor here for Ombudsman.
Let's not also forget, Davey, that Japan are having a pretty good night. They've taken the UAE Derby with the third for good measure, and Lugal was like nosed out of the sprint. Japan are fourth on both surfaces, as we know.
The Asian horses have run very well in Dubai the last decade, I would say. I mean, was it last year or 2 years ago? They won like every damn race, and was just really impressive. Let me ask you a question, Dan.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Davey.
Yeah, but for the war, there would have been 2 or 3 Japanese horses better than this in this race.
Okay,
Museum Mile.
That's the unfortunate part. Let me throw a question to Daniel. Davey, I asked him this off air. Of all the heavy favorites at the end of this card, obviously we can't include Ben Tornado. Ombudsman, the next race, Kalandagan, and then of course the final race, Forever Young. Of those 3, Daniel, which horse do you fancy the least, and which one do you fancy the most? Just to win. Forget about odds. Just for our bettors at home that want to play a pick 3 or lean on a horse.
Okay. That's a good question. I'd be absolutely staggered if Calandagan lost. I'd be absolutely staggered if Standing lost. So he would, for me, of the three, he would be the one that I'd nail my colours and go down with my ship on if I had to. By the way, those who know me know I don't play horses odds on, so that's just hypothetical, right?
Okay.
Forever Young, of course he should win, but I'm just nervous in a way about what happened last year. Was it definitely the sampling procedure, the upset thing, and the heavy race against Romantic Warrior? Just a little bit nervous. But these two turf horses, they tower over their rivals as well as Forever Young does his on dirt.
Okay, so in order of confidence, you'd go Calandagan, then Forever Young, then Ombudsman?
Difficult difficult. I wouldn't split the other two, but Calandagan's the one. Yeah.
Let me take your picks off the screen, guys. We have over 300 people watching, and we still have 15 minutes to post. This is a great time for me to toot my own horn a little bit, Daniel and Davey, because I'm very proud of this podcast and what we have, and we have a lot of new people watching, listening. Whether you live here in the United States or whether you're overseas, we have a fantastic tip sheet. The information is now at the bottom of the screen. It's called our Power Picks tip sheet. And Mr. Morgan, I'm going to make sure I get you on it for free, my friend. And you can get it at home on Saturday afternoons, and you can say, to yourself, Howard, I don't punt USA. I'll just put it aside. Or maybe you'll print it out and find a little roughie, and it'll make your weekend. But we have a very popular Power Pick tip sheet. The ROI for 5 years, Daniel, is at 211 right now, and this year is at 322. The average ROI is $1.60. Look below the video player on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. You can find out all the information. It's very inexpensive. It's very profitable, and I send it out on by email very early here in the States Saturday morning. It's all based on U.S. betting. We cover 2 tracks, the 2 feature tracks of the day, and then we also cover a 3rd track. Mainly, Daniel, as you know, watching the show, the late pick 5 or the last 5 races of major days of racing here in the United States. I'm very proud of our tip sheet. Please look into it, ladies and gentlemen. You go to Patreon. You can see on the bottom of the screen, www.patreon.com. You can find out all that information. The other thing I'd like to also promote is our Keeneland Power Pick tip sheet. This is for Keeneland Racetrack only. It's now scrolling at the top of the screen. We have a separate tip sheet for full card analysis, Davey and Daniel, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the big Keeneland meets. Of course, Daniel, I'm sure you're familiar with that meet. It is our boutique meet here in the United States, along with Del Mar and Saratoga in the summer. The racing at Keeneland is absolutely top-notch. It starts next Friday, Daniel, and I would highly recommend people look into our Power Pick tip sheet for Keeneland. Now, to get that information, ladies and gentlemen, and please bear with me, I'd greatly appreciate it. All you have to do is go to our website, which I'm going to get set up for everyone right now. Give me 1 second, please. You go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, and then go to Power Pick tip sheet in the middle, and you go to Keeneland Spring Only. You click on that, and you can find out information about our Keeneland Power Pick tip sheet. There's the cost, very expensive, like 10 to 12 cards. The deadline to sign up is next Thursday at noon Eastern here in the States. You can find out everything you'd like to know. We also have examples of our Keeneland Power Pick tip sheet. So highly recommend, if you're looking for some expert picks, that you check out our Power Pick tip sheet. And Daniel, I've talked about this since the day we started our podcast. We're not looking to steal money away from people. We charge a very low cost. Take it or leave it. Our opinions are not always right, just like yours and Davey. But we like to think we put a lot of time and dedicate ourselves to this game, and we've been successful. So anyway, check out our tip sheets, guys. We got 11 minutes to post here. Ombudsman right now is 4 to 5. Hold on, Davey. Ombudsman 4 to 5. Coudois 6. Factor Chevelle 6, and Gaia Force 9. Go ahead, Davey Lane.
Yeah, just to add that I also do a little boutique international tip sheet for Howard.
Yes.
Which I do about twice a month, and I did January and February. There wasn't any in March, and although I didn't mention it to Daniel earlier. I mentioned it to you, but I actually had a bit of I was on antibiotics. I had a bit of pneumonia there, like for the last 10 days, sort of just clearing up. So I wasn't really in a state of mind to write that up in the last couple of days. So
no worries.
That will be back. That will be back next week, and carry on through the summer, because it is actually, as we should note, the opening day of the British Flat season today. So so people can be expecting tips from me on the British Flat, and then as we head into the Australian autumn, and then other tracks across Europe. As Howard knows, as I took him to some Spanish and French racing, I like, just as my own personal hobby, to get across to as many tracks I haven't been to around Europe when I can. So I'll hopefully be doing that this summer as well. So anyway, so we move on.
Davey, let's start with the pace situation. Davey, who do you think will go forward here in the Dubai turf?
I would expect Factor Cheval to show a little pace, to be honest. You know, see what he's got. Barcelona might take the race by the scruff of the neck, and test these guys out. You know, put a little test into Ombudsman. You know, the horse did run over in Saudi, didn't he? He ran second in Saudi, right? Is that right? I think so.
Yes, it's a royal champion. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, the horse is fit. So why not? Why not test it? You know,
Daniel, I know it's hard.
Sorry,
go ahead, Davey. I apologize.
No, go on. I mean, say if Bentonado was just a couple of bucks short, maybe Ombudsman will be as well. So
that's what I would say, Daniel. I know it's hard to quantify lengths in terms of fitness, but the fact that Factor Cheval has had a run, Guy Force has been running, Coudrois has been running. Can you give an estimate, in your professional opinion, and quantify how many lengths that may help or hurt Ombudsman?
Well, specifically with regard to Ombudsman, maybe not at all, because the Gosdens, it used to be John Gosden, now of course it's him and his son Thady. The Gosdens they have a track record, a very good track record for a big race, if they have to take a horse to a big race, of getting them fit to run their best. They're good at that. It's not their normal preferred, modus operandi. And it's been forced on them in a way because, we've had a wet, miserable winter, and, they're not going to get Ombudsman fit 6 weeks earlier in that kind of weather. But coming back to your pace question, this really interests me, because one thing they cannot afford this to be is him sitting right out back if it's a really slow pace. Now that's a drop to 9 furlongs. So Bjorn will have to watch that like a book.
Who do you think will go forward, Daniel, in your opinion? Davey, we'll get your comment in a second, maybe.
Sorry, what was that? How to miss that?
Daniel, do you agree about Factor Cheval going forward? Who else might set the pace here?
Possibly. He doesn't normally do that. Make My King, just speed. Fort George is another one who I wouldn't expect that of him, but he was second to Rebels Romance over 12 furlongs last time. He's going to have any chance here. He's surely got to be pushing for a fast pace on the front end. I'd be surprised if any of the big guns led. I don't think that's Factor Cheval's style. So I would be surprised. But let's see.
Are we surprised Rebels Romance is not running today, Daniel?
Not with the weather. They pulled him out a good week ago before the final field declarations, but maybe they're already looking at the weather. He would want no part of ground with a lot of giving it against this kind of opposition. But he was brought out of the Shima, wasn't he? Sorry.
Yes.
I think it must have been ground related, because they often don't have a really big horse. We've got an interesting horse for the Shima. We'll come to that later.
Well, that's one thing we have. Let's talk about this, because we do have 8 minutes. My wonderful co-host, Daniel, as you know, Pete Visco and Paul Halloran, who I love dearly, and we have a great time. I'm a bit of a weather guy, Daniel. I enjoy meteorology. I talk about weather on the show a little bit, and it does affect horse racing. They give me a little bit of a hard time about it. The weather in Dubai this week has not only been interesting, it's been semi-dangerous. It does not rain a lot often in Dubai. Now, there are rainy seasons in the desert, but they got torrential rain this week. I heard there were tornado warnings actually in the UAE, which is highly unusual. They've had thunder, lightning. they've had an unusual amount of rain. To their credit, Daniel, the turf course actually looks like it's in pretty good shape, all considering. It's really amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. Dubai gets an average of somewhere between 10 and 20 millimeters in the whole of March, right? That's a normal average last 10 years or so. And they've had triple figures in the last week. It's absolutely amazing. They must have state-of-the-art drainage and all the rest of it. I mean, this is kind of thing would make many courses in England and Ireland completely unraceable.
Yeah. I heard they've got a little money in Dubai, Daniel, the wonderful shakes and whatnot. I think they can afford a good. It's not like the drainage system you and I have in our backyard, just outside of our house. So
back at that when they built Meydan, they needed to do that because the old Dad Al Sheba couldn't really cope, and they had to they had to postpone one Dubai World Cup by 5 days and bring in the helicopters to dry out the dirt track. Pretty dramatic stuff.
It's come a long way.
Indeed.
If Ombudsman runs well here and win, sorry, Davey, go ahead, Davey.
Yeah, just to further a couple of points related to what Daniel was saying. John Gosden has made the trip to Dubai. He doesn't always make the trip. And it's interesting for a couple of reasons. One, he's showing solidarity with his owner, one of his bigger owners. And two, he's also thinking about his transition to his sons. He wants to make sure that Thady is going to kind of keep in the good graces of the Dubai people. So he wants to win because he wants to win the money and he wants to keep things going and so on. So that's important to note. I mean, I can recall, and it's important to note in gambling, particularly last-minute gambling, which is sort of the opposite of what Daniel does in terms of anti-post gambling, is subtle things like which owners have gone to the track and this and that, the rest. I mean, I can recall at Meydan, I don't know how many years ago, some years ago, I was probably near an English bookies, and there was an Aga Khan horse, and Alain de Roy Dupré was on my phone all of a sudden on a live feed at a mid-race. It was a Group 2. It was in February or something. There he was at the track. I mean, I couldn't get the 20s out of my pocket quick enough in the OTB office because the horse was like 13-2 or something. I was pulling them out because I knew, to me, that was a signal that he wouldn't have gone all the way to Dubai for this particular Group 2 if it wasn't, So Galston is there, and that's meaningful. So he's probably the winner on all the other business. I'm just trying to highlight some of the subtleties people should be aware of playing a race. That's all.
It's not just follow the jockey; it's follow the trainer, follow the owner, etc.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Guys, we're coming up to about 3 minutes now. This is the last race where we're going to play audio, but let's talk about the other two races, Davey and Daniel. And we'll take a few minutes after this race, guys, also, but not very long. Let's talk about the next race, Davey and Daniel. Who do you guys like in the next race?
Shall I kick off with this just to say that I'd be staggered if Killandigan didn't win this race. He's got maybe you could say his very, very, very peak form is on fast ground, but he's got absolutely top class form on the ground. Which stands heads and shoulders over everything else that's here. And with some of the bigger horses that we discussed earlier not having come over, Masquerade Balls and whatever, this is surely to his mercy. I really don't think Ethical Diamond will get that. The last 3 races, big races he's won on the flat since he became a decent flat horse. Big field, fast ground, fast pace. And he might get none of that today. I don't like him at all. Giolotto, again, they want fast ground for him. He's got a good chance of the forecast, but I'd prefer to take a flyer on a Godolphin horse to get in the forecast spot.
So pretty much all in on Killandigan. David, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I concur exactly. I mean, the top 3 horses, I mean, they all want a pace and they all want fast ground. And, so you've got... the chance of getting Killandigan turned over by Ethical Diamond and Giolotto was gone as soon as we had a smaller field, so less pace, and B, softer ground. So I mean, and also, there was not necessarily for sure Killandigan would come here, but these people talk to each other, and clearly there's $3 million US to be had here. And the Aga Khan, he may be a rich guy, but he's definitely going to send his gelding all the way over into the war zone to pick up the $3 million, isn't he? I mean, let's be real about it. It's a lot of money. And the other 3 should be also around, but maybe Royal Power could upset them. So You know, it won last time in Abu Dhabi, but that's like winning at Ellis Park or someplace like that. You know, it's not.
Okay.
You know,
all right. So it should be Kalandagan in the next race, and we've talked about the Dubai World Cup, and we'll talk about it a little bit after this race. But
yeah,
look, I have more stronger opinions, obviously, because I'm more familiar with some of those horses. We all know Forever Young, unless he just doesn't run his race, he should win this race. I will say Magnitude is very interesting. I know, Daniel, you have a big anti-post bet on him, so good luck at 25-1. It looks like they're entering the gate. So we will wait for our Dubai World Cup conversation. It is time for race 7 in Dubai. Will it be Ombudsman? Will it be Coudoir? Or will it be someone else? Let's see who takes down the $5 million prize. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
So Al Najm, I just think he keeps flying under everybody's radar, and Michael Costa's always had a very high opinion of him, and he's a whole different horse than what he was this time last year, and he's been proving it.
All right, let's find out what happens in company of Pat Comerford.
$5 million up for grabs here for the Dubai Turf, sponsored by DP World. First of our big 3 for the evening. London Dubai Shima Classic to follow. 2 of our turf races remaining. And then on to the $12 million Dubai World Cup. It always draws a great field as the Dubai Turf, and this field is no different as a folk festival comes up to join them. Al Najm take in the outer.
Coudoir breaks from the rail. Ombudsman rail post 7. Ombudsman.
The Ghostly Grey up into gate number 11. We're set in the turf. Ready. Shane Ryan hits the button and we're underway, and Gaia Force jumped incredibly well out wider, pressing up with Make Me King, deeper out Al Najm, Fort George on the move. Ombudsman dropping in behind them into 5th position on settling from Coudoir the rail, a length and a half back to Factor Cheval.
Daniel, I'm assuming you like this, your horse on the lead, the 2.
I'm surprised. Can't be a bad place to be. Yeah, interesting. From that wide gate, they decided to gamble.
Needs 2 lengths here in the early part of the Dubai Turf to Al Najm and Coudoir. The Sheikh Ahmed bin Rashid Al Maktoum runners 2nd and 3rd in running. Fort George is 4th. He's 3 wide without cover. Then came Make Me King, who's 5th, tucked in behind Traffic. Then came Ombudsman from Dividend. 2.5 lengths, Factor Cheval. Next was Tumbler the inside from Folk Festival, and out to last is Andreas Vesalius. They get to the back turn in the Dubai Turf for $5 million. Gaia Force has tried to back off the pace a little bit here. He's come back to them. A length and a tail in advance of Al Najm, who works up to 2nd. Fort George 3rd and 3 wide from Coudoir, who's now tracking the leader in 4th position. Half a length to Make Me King. Then came deeper out Ombudsman. He's got cover despite being wide. Dividend in his usual position up on the rail here, but he'll need some luck. Half a length back to Factor Cheval from Tumbler, and Andreas Vesalius is the tail ender. They wheel the bend in the Dubai Turf, and it's Gaia Force leading the way by half a length. He rolls off the fence, and Coudoir's got an opportunity to come up the fence, followed by Al Najm. Dividend looking for a run as well from Make Me King. In the meantime, Ombudsman. Buick's hit the button here, and Ombudsman's picked them up very quickly. Ombudsman from Coudoir. Then came Gaia Force running on. Andreas Vesalius putting in the performance of his life, but it is Ombudsman clear, and it is a royal win on the night of nights. Ombudsman comes away to win a length and 3/4. To Coudoir in 2nd, Andreas Vesalius a cracking run in 3rd. Make Me King 4th, 5th to Dividend. Then came Gaia Force, who dropped away to run midfield from Fort George back to Cheval. Next over was Tumbler from Al Najm, not today, and the last one in was Folk Festival.
1-3-9 Ombudsman wins very impressively, really quickened in that final furlong, Daniel. That was a very classy effort.
It was. I mean, I guess no more than it was expected to win by, and that's it. I wouldn't call it uber impressive, but Coudoir is the one who's come and made that forecast for Davey. But I think pretty much everybody in the world is going to be shocked by that 3rd place in the trifecta. That was a tough one to come up with. Andreas Vesalius.
Guess who was riding? Connor Beasley. What a night this guy's had! Wow. Coudoir was put a little bit in tight, Davey, by Gaia Force, but got through. I don't think really had any excuse.
No excuse. Listen, he was 2nd best, and the anti-post, the bet that I had was at a good price and a multiple each way. I haven't looked at my bets, but so to me, it's a winner at that level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice. The cold exacta, Davey. Look, in the whirlpool, the 1-3 exacta is 7-1. What's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So nice call, Davey, with Kudwa. I'm watching the head on here. Gaia Force tried to put Kudan tight, just didn't have the horse. Daniel, I'm assuming you said it right at the start. You were not only surprised that Gaia Force went to the lead, I suppose now you can honestly say you're a bit disappointed by that choice of rides.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it may just be that that would be so great because the horse just wasn't good enough, and he really faded right out of it. That's true. The first two or three in the betting, the first 2 or 3 on the pace completely fell away, actually, don't they? So they clearly did set an honest pace, too honest a pace maybe for them, but yeah, not good enough on the day.
Yeah. Davey, where would you see Ombudsman going forward from here?
Well, it'll be Ascot next. I think Gosden actually said, I mean, they're not going to race him in between now and Ascot, so he's going straight to the Prince of Wales, I think.
Yes, he's confirmed that's where I'll go next.
Yeah. And who might he face there, Davey and Daniel?
Who knows? I mean, what do we think?
That is definitely a question that's caught me, and I can't even think. Who
well, I'm sure Aiden's gonna have a few there for sure. He's got an armada he can send there.
Yeah.
Right.
Guess so, because he retired the big horse he had for that race last Delacroix, didn't he? So yeah, he'll have to replace that.
Here's how I'd like to end the show, guys. We're gonna end in just a few minutes. First of all, on the top of the screen, we have another live show later, especially for our U.S. punters. For coverage of the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby later today. You can see from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern at the top of the screen there. So join me, myself, Matt Miller, and a few others. We're also going to be talking about contest play through Twin Spires. There's always contests here, Daniel, in the United States that we enjoy playing. So please check us out 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern for live coverage of Oaklawn and Gulfstream Racing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please join us, ladies and gentlemen, for that. Let me go ahead and take the banner off the screen. Let's go ahead and get into the conclusion of the show here. Dubai World Cup. Let me just go ahead and bring up the field quickly. And I'm not going to put it on the screen, but Davey, who are your top 3 in the Dubai World Cup?
My top 3 would be 1, 2, 4.
1, 2, 4. So Davey is, hold on one second, everyone. Davey's going to go Forever Young, Magnitude, and the aptly named Maidan. Daniel, who are your top 3, sir, in the Dubai World Cup?
Worryingly and predictably staying with race card order numbers. 1, 2, 3. Straightforward of that. Okay. Magnitude in second, and Hit Show. He's a big price for a horse who's been to Maidan just the once and won this. And this track is playing slow.
Yes, I think Hit Show is a little bit more and more interesting here as we go along. I've never liked him, but with Forever Young, Magnitude, and Maidan all in theory going forward, and maybe Walk of Stars too, like it could get it could heat up, and maybe a horse like Hit Show can just clunk up and upset Forever Young. It wouldn't completely shock me, guys. Look, this has been a fantastic show. Let me go ahead and bring up the banner here. Daniel, let me address you first, my friend. Really appreciate you coming on. I hope you enjoyed our broadcast and all of its production quirks. And I'll tell you what, you guys, the first winner of the day was enough for everyone. What a great call for everyone in the UAE Derby. Both these guys had an 8-1 shot. Daniel, once again, remind everyone who's joining us now where they can find out information about the anti-poster.
Yeah, thanks, Al. It's a total honor for me to be invited on here. Really enjoyed it. This is a great show to actually be part of it myself. It's very, very exciting. Anyone who wants to follow me, Twitter or X, as they call it now, is the best place, at @the_anti-poster. And that's where I tweet my articles out. The articles are on www.theantiposter.com. But yeah, follow us on Twitter, and then you get the news flow about things quickest.
There you go. Follow Daniel, especially if you're interested in future bets. Again, that's what anti-post bets are. It's fascinating conversation. Daniel obviously knows what he's talking about. This is the first time I had the opportunity to meet him, was literally during our live show. Daniel, my friend, you did not disappoint. We'd love to have you back on another time. You and I will definitely be in touch. Daniel, sorry, Davey, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate how great it was to actually meet Daniel and myself, and have the germ of the idea to suggest to invite him. I'm happy I did that. And also, to what he didn't say was, people need to go to YouTube and follow Daniel's YouTube page, because he has a lot of very, very good videos. So it's the Anti-Poster. If you just type it ANTE, one word, POSTER. It's fantastic previews of races, but also get to his website and subscribe, and you get the content and very, very good in-depth analysis, write-ups about the races. So follow him, give him follows, get him out there, and then maybe he'll have some opinions about some anti-post races coming stateside, and so on. So we're just bringing more people into the HHJ's family, and this is it's been great. The first race was particularly good. We both called it, and yes. And we both got tripped up in a couple of cases, but that's racing, you know.
Daniel, the HHH Racing Podcast tent is very big, my friend. We have room. We have room for you. Do you ever come stateside, Evan?
Thank you very much. Not for quite a while, but it's something I need to scratch my head about. I haven't flown for 5-6 years, and I've looked at getting a trip to the States other ways, and it's interesting to say the least. But when we're done,
well, maybe you can find your way here, or maybe I'll make another trip to see Davey in Liverpool and end up. How far are you two away from each other?
Oh, about 200 miles, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, easy train ride, right? Yes,
yeah, easy train ride. But also, you can take a boat these days. You can take a boat from Liverpool or get yourself over to the States. There's no problem with that. And that might be a good way to go these days if there's a fuel crisis. So I think one day we're both Daniel and I, and maybe my friend Phil, will eventually see Howard and Matt and Kyle and Paul and Pete, you know, over at Saratoga or one of these places for a Breeders' Cup, or Keeneland, or maybe Belmont for the Breeders' Cup next year, somewhere like that. But it'd be all great to meet
the Belmont Breeders' Cup next year, gentlemen, is going to be unbelievable. They're building a new Belmont. It's the shortest trip for you guys. If you can work that out, we'll make arrangements. We're planning on having Airbnb. We'll have tickets to the track. That would be amazing, guys.
Quick point on Belmont. Quick build on Belmont. My first Breeders' Cup was Cigar. Am I right saying I was in Belmont for that?
Yes.
Yeah,
wow.
It was a while.
Wow. One of the best race calls ever by Tom Durkin. And Cigar makes his move. Just unbelievable effort by that champion. All right, guys. It's been a real pleasure, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed our Dubai World Cup coverage again tonight, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern here in the States. We have another Weekend Warriors show with live coverage at Oaklawn and Gulfstream. And as we always say, Daniel and Davey, crush your bets on any wagers you make the rest of the weekend. Cheers to everyone. Good luck in the last 2 races at Dubai. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.